FIVEaa.
Showers and 15 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
The Prime Minister has met with the Queen at Windsor Castle. Scott Morrison says he was able to pass on the nation's condolences following the death of Prince Philip. The meeting happened after the new free trade deal was struck with the UK. The agreement covers most sectors of the economy and extends to cooperation on climate change, security and technology. Working holiday visas will be extended for Australians to the age of 35. Both parliaments will now scrutinise the deal before it formally kicks in. The Prime Minister says it's a landmark arrangement.
These agreements are based on trust. You have them when you have shared values and you understand what both countries are seeking to achieve in a partnership. And that's what this is fundamentally about. This is just another very big chapter in the story of Australia and the United Kingdom.
A Sydney quarantine hotel is on alert after a person was diagnosed with the same COVID strain as a couple staying in a different room. Nine's Sophie Clark has the details.
The trio flew into the harbour city on the same flight from Doha on the 1st of June. The couple tested positive on day 2 of their stay. The other return traveller staying in an adjacent room was diagnosed on day 5. Contact tracers are investigating if transmission occurred on the plane, in transit or while in quarantine. Staff working on the same floor are getting tested and isolating as a precaution.
The majority of surveyed Australians back a target of net zero carbon emissions by 2050. Support was highest among Labor voters, but 52% of coalition voters say they support or strongly support the target. 61% of respondents want to meet the target using renewable energy and other technologies rather than a cost on emissions. US President Joe Biden is preparing for a face-to-face meeting with his Russian counterpart. Nine's Alison Petrowski has more.
President Biden and President Putin will sit down for marathon talks tomorrow with the aim of achieving stability between the United States and Russia. The White House anticipating the talks will last between 4 and 5 hours. Top on the US president's agenda will be the recent spate of ransomware attacks on key pieces of American infrastructure, as well as the treatment of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny and a prisoner swap for 2 US citizens currently held in Russian jails. Joe Biden has been consulting with top Russia experts about how to handle the talks. The two leaders will hold separate press conferences tomorrow following the summit.
An artificial heart which could offer new life to thousands of people is being developed by Australian researchers. Nine's Lauren Howarth has the story.
Currently, some people with the condition use implantable mechanical pumps which only support one ventricle and require patients to carry around a computer and heavy batteries. Researchers at Monash University are working to change that, developing an artificial heart about the size of a human fist. Clinical trials are due to begin as early as next year, with hopes the device could be on the market before 2030.
Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to $500 on selected ASCO cooking appliances. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with football. Opinion continues to be divided on the collision involving Dave McKay and Hunter Clark ahead of tomorrow night's tribunal hearing. Some are arguing he should receive several weeks suspension, while others are saying he should be free to play this weekend. Collingwood's Jordan De Goey, meantime, has been handed a one-match ban for engaging in rough conduct. The incident during the Queen's birthday clash assessed as careless conduct with medium impact and high contact. To basketball, Melbourne United has come from 17 points down to defeat South East Melbourne Phoenix in last night's Game 3 of their NBL semi-final series. That result means United will face the Perth Wildcats in the grand final series. Well, Kyle Chalmers will defend his 100-metre freestyle title at the Tokyo Olympics next month after cruising to victory at the Australian swimming trials.
Chalmers in front. Who will take second? Way out in lane of number 8. It could be an upset for second. Chalmers is first. Temple is second.
Yeah, that audio thanks to Amazon Prime. As you heard, Matthew Temple came second and also qualified for the Olympics. And in the 200-metre breaststroke event, Zach Subtlety-Cook swam an Australian and Commonwealth record to also qualify in the event. To soccer, and in the Euros, Portugal has beaten Hungary 3-0, Cristiano Ronaldo scoring 2 goals. And there's about 15 minutes to play in the late game. France currently leading Germany 1-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
15 today with showers. Showers increasing tomorrow 16, then will ease on Friday 15. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their end of financial year monster deals. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. The short week going very quickly. It is. We're going to talk about the Prime Minister's meeting with the Queen a little bit later in the morning. We'll flash back with Michael Smith. We're going to talk about defibrillators in light of that very scary incident at the Euros where the Christian Eriksen went down with his heart stopped. Particularly scary. You see these things popping up in restaurants and facilities all over the place now. We'll talk about them in depth after 7 o'clock today. Sean Fuster will join us. We'll go around the courts. Tom Duday, he's on a break this week. The Crows have the bye, but we'll reflect on what was one of the more extraordinary wins in their 30-year history after 8 o'clock today. And we'll also talk to one of the key beneficiaries of the memorandum of understanding that's been signed between Australia and the UK to write into law a free trade agreement. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. It'll be good to catch up with the dude. That's very big of him. They're meant to be on a break and he's still doing it.
Yeah.
What about that?
Hey, we don't have buys.
Well, no, we don't have
Actually,
buys.
to be honest, we do in 2 weeks. We've got 2 of them, but
we have got 2 weeks off. So, in fact, we're twice as lazy as the AFL players.
At least.
Although we're still broadcasting in November, unlike them.
Oh, yeah. No, we're all year round.
Yeah, yeah.
Apart from the times that we're not on.
Yes, that's right.
I really enjoyed a story Mel Asher just had in 5AA News. I thought this is just a classic. You know, polling. People, you think it's telling you one story, but I think it's probably telling you another one. The enthusiasm that apparently exists in the population for Australia to be net zero emissions by 2050. Apparently, the majority of us want this, which, okay, is great. Because, one, what do you plan to be doing in 2050? Do you care? I'll be retired.
It's hard to even visualise 2050. Hang on, what is it now? 2021, that's 29 years from now.
Yep.
God, that's terrifying. I'll be 80.
Right. Do you give a stuff? What's going on when you're 80? Do you really care?
God, what am I going to be like when I'm 80?
Well, I can't wait. I think it's going to be excellent.
Well, I do care. I care for my... This is the most cliched thing I'm ever going to say.
Yeah.
I care for my children, and particularly my grandchildren.
Mm.
But are you suggesting that these polls get a skewed reaction, A, on the basis of you think you should say it anyway, and B, you haven't got a dog in the fight?
Exactly right. And the other component, the real kicker that I found, Mel tacked on the end that, but most people voted, they wanted to achieve this without there being any pricing mechanism by way of new technology or renewables, which is great. Yeah, I'm happy for it to happen if it magically happens and doesn't affect me in 30 years' time.
Yeah, that is the conundrum, isn't it? Like, I'm a huge believer in climate change, but you can take my 40-inch plasma and my unleaded or diesel-powered car, or insert anything here. Your house with a big yard, that requires a large power bill.
Yep.
Unless you want to go full Scando and live in one of those...
Like some sort of wood hut.
Yeah, or those, what are they called? The small house movement. Tread lightly on Mother Earth.
Oh, yes. No thanks.
That's all well and good until you want to start...
It's not the Australian dream.
Putting your record collection in alphabetical order across an entire room, or if you've got 4 kids, where do you put all of them? What do they do in the small house movement?
I don't know.
Scandinavia them?
I don't know.
Shan?
I just think you could poll anyone on it. You could say, world hunger, would you like it to be solved by 2050?
World hunger, yes or no?
Yes or no. Here are your options.
I'm a yes. I'm a soft yes.
It could be fixed in 30 years and it won't cost you anything because of technology. Yep, all right. That sounds good to me.
Reminds me of the excellent Simpsons episode where they decided that the Itchy and Scratchy cartoon had lost its punch. So they got a marketing guru in who set up a focus group, and the focus group proposed the creation of a third character called Poochie, the rockin' dog, who liked skateboarding and recycling, Because they ticked all these different categories that the kids in the focus group had said they wanted to see in a cartoon character. Then they were standing there, the facilitator says, "So how many of your kids want Poochie the dog to have all sorts of zany adventures, maybe going to outer space?" And it's like, yay!
Yeah.
And how many of you kids want Poochie to confront day-to-day situations like those that might arise in your own lives? Yay! It was like, I can't work with you people. Just stormed out of the focus group.
Well, it reminds me of whenever any research goes out for the television news, I think focus groups are people are very bad at knowing what they want. And people are... So when research ever goes out about what do you want more on your 6 o'clock news, the TV news, this happens much these days, but back in the day, people would always, more international news? We need more international news.
Mate, everyone says that. Everyone says it about newspaper content too, because they feel duty-bound to say it.
Yeah.
So if you put out a copy of the Advertiser with a 2-page spread on pages 4 and 5, don't miss tomorrow's special edition, Kenya decides, where you do 3,000 words on the results of the elections in Kenya. No one to buy the damn paper.
No, that's right. And nobody watches the news either. And they found that out the hard way because they've done it. They're like, okay, I guess they want more Gaza content. And then the other station's doing the car crash at Theberton. What do people watch? What's happening in their own neck of the woods? Don't know how we got into that.
Part of it is just sort of, I don't know, you just got to... You can't be purely instinct, but instinct's pretty good. Instinct combined with things like the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line and actually having conversations with people when you're down at the shops, and when they say, "Oh, that was good," well, that wasn't very good.
Yep.
And you go, "Oh yeah, okay, that's a focus group."
It happens in creative industries too. I think Hollywood's sort of learnt this. They've gone through waves where what let's ask people. I mean, what kind of stuff do they want to watch? And they're always wrong. And it just turns out some people are really good at knowing.
Yeah,
they're really good at writing and creating the thing that people actually like.
Yeah,
people themselves are really bad at telling you.
Well, you think about a really provocative but I think hilarious comedy like There's Something About Mary.
Yep.
No focus group would have told you to make that film.
No. They would have told you the opposite.
In fact, here's a question. Would that film even get made today, even though it's only 20 years old?
I suspect not. I think that line of would that have gotten made today has never moved closer to the present.
Yeah.
I reckon in 2000 you would have said, wow, that movie from that joke from the 60s was a little edgy, 70s or wherever it might be. But you're talking decades. Now I don't think even that it's that far. You can look at movies or comedies in about the 2010s. Do you think there's no way any of this would get made today? Yeah, which is sad. It is. Like I think doesn't make today right. Well, the film that would definitely not get made, I don't think, is Blazing Saddles. 100%, no chance of getting made. I think that film is superb, and I think that the amazing thing is that about the only intelligent character in it is the black mare. Oh, Gene Hackman's character is pretty. Gene Wilder. Rather. Gene Wilder, yeah. He's smart. He's just fried his brain with alcohol. But the black mare, whoever that actor is, there's so many scenes of where they dress up as Klansmen to avoid detection. Yeah, you can do it. But it's brilliant. 82230000 as our number. I don't know if any of that you'd like to make a comment on. I don't know where that really came out of. That was just something else. A lot of randomness to start the morning. Exactly. You can text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line 048008 1395. We'll talk about the weather. Lots of rain came in late yesterday. Some more on the way today. We'll get to that. But in a moment, news headlines.
Adelaide Cabaret Festival is here, June 11 to 26 at Adelaide Festival Centre. Book your tickets now for a spectacular program directed by Hollywood star cabaret royalty Alan Cumming. Adelaide Cabaret Festival will thrill you with song, comedy, art, magic, trivia and all sorts of cabaret delights. Warm up your winter and experience the best cabaret talent from across the country. Your banquet awaits. Book now at adelaidecabaretfestival.com.au.
When you die, who gets what? Will your kids or relatives argue over your estate? Will your beneficiaries be protected? Will your estate be tax effective? Will your wishes be respected and carried out? Speak with Donlan Lawyers now for peace of mind. Donlan Lawyers for wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches. then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Your caravan is a huge investment, so when you get a little close to a tree branch or veranda, it cuts deep. But did you know your insurance should cover that? And Walker Crash Repairs will fix it right and on time. Walker Crash Repairs. Caravans, cars and four-wheel drives. See our customer reviews online. You can always relax on the road with Walker Crash Repairs. Walker Crash Repairs, an RAA-approved crash repairer for caravans and cars.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen. Reckon you've run out of time to score a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen? Nah. If you're quick, you can still check out the range of new Volkswagens available for delivery right now at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen. And remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Don't dilly-dally. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Get up to 20% off a huge range of great wheel brands. Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
16 after 6, Ange in Kidman Park's called into the program. Morning to you, Ange.
G'day, guys. How are you?
Good, mate.
Good, thanks, mate.
Isn't it interesting how movies from years ago actually sort of work out what happens in society? Like, you've both seen Wall-E, boys?
Both seen what? Sorry, mate?
Wall-E, the movie, Wall-E, the kids' movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the robot that collected trash.
So,
yep.
Okay, so what happens is, so society's getting lazier. They sit on their backsides, they order food. 7, 8 years later, I know this is really weird, but then Uber Eats comes out. So what happens? We sit in at home, we go on our phone, and we order stuff. It's just amazing who thinks of these ideas. You know what I mean? Like, it's so coincidental. It's scary.
Life imitating art. Yeah,
necessarily.
maybe it's not. Good call, Ange. Thank you. 8223 0000. Text us on the Telstra Storm Barker text line, 044808 1395. Let's get to the news headlines on this Wednesday morning. Australia has signed a major trade deal with the UK. Prime Minister Scott Morrison and his British counterpart Boris Johnson have signed an in-principle agreement on the UK's first major deal since Brexit. That makes it very significant from the UK side of things. And it was fascinating watching Sky News this morning. The British side is all about, well, this is the template for them going forward. This is how they do agreements. They needed to nut out one early with someone who was a close friend. The good news for us is that meant we got a lot of what we asked for when it come to beef and lamb and tariffs and things like that. The trade agreement covers agriculture as well as cooperation on security, climate change and technology.
People can go work much more easily in Australia both ways. There'll be free exchange of British rent-a-poms, and indeed Australian campaign managers will be able to come more easily to work in this country.
The joke there from Johnson was that his campaign manager is an Adelaide boy,
yes.
Linton Crosby, who rose to the dizzy heights of being the national director of the Liberal Party here, but has worked on the last 2 British Tory Party elections. And he's been knighted. He's Sir Linton Crosby now, I think. I think that's correct. But yeah, rent-a-poms. I like the idea of rent-a-poms. This could actually see a bit of a renaissance of Australians heading off to the UK for gap years as well. If it's going to mean you can work more easily.
And a bit older too. The change, certainly from the UK to the Australian side, the age limit's gone from 30 to 35. And you can stay for 3 years, and you don't have they no longer have the requirement to go work out on a farm or somewhere in agriculture when they come here either.
We could go and do a radio show for a year there, Will.
Yeah.
Good Morning Norwich.
Oh, I've always aspired to be Alan Partridge, and sometimes I've come a little too close.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's excellent. Yeah.
Do you know?
The Prime Minister...
No, I do a year in Cornwall working in Torquay.
Among your people?
With my people. With Rick Stein, sous chef.
The Prime Minister has told the Queen she was quite the hit at the G7 summit in the UK. The pair met at Windsor Castle following a free trade agreement between Australia and the UK. Scott Morrison shared a laugh with the monarch in front of photographers in the Royal Residence's Oak Room.
You were quite the hit. Everyone was talking about you at dinner the next night.
Oh Lord, were they ready?
They were thrilled to see you.
Which is the natural response from the Queen when anyone says, "Oh, you know, everyone was talking about you at dinner the other night." Oh, oh, really?
How nervous did ScoMo sound?
Oh, well,
he sounded like Molly Meldrum when he interviewed Prince Charles.
After 6:30 this morning, yeah, that's right.
How's your mum?
We're going to Waller's gift card for what you'd say in your 10 seconds with the Queen.
Be pretty hard, wouldn't it?
It's the hardest small talk in the world. I'm the worst person at small talk on planet Earth. That's my nightmare scenario. Everyone's watching, 10 seconds, small talk with the Queen.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not really a small talk guy,
I can't do small talk.
You're quite happy to talk about stuff.
Yeah. I don't know what to say.
No.
I'm like a robot.
Yeah, it just comes over all shy.
I just don't know what those bits in between the conversation are. A temporary reprieve has been granted to a Tamil family left languishing on Christmas Island for the past 2 years, but their long-term future in Australia hangs in the balance. The family will be allowed to stay in community detention in Perth as they continue their legal fight, but if their legal bids fail, they'll be deported. Concerns over COVID vaccines have eased slightly, according to the latest poll. 26% of those surveyed in the Resolve Political Monitor say they're unlikely to get a vaccine if offered one in the next month. That's down from 29% last month. I wonder if that 3% change is entirely attributable to the situation in Victoria.
Yeah, I think so.
I bet it's Victorians who previously went, I'm not so sure, to, yeah, actually, let's just do this.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a worry if that's what it takes to get people off the couch to get vaccinated, though, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a great campaign running in France. I'm not sure you saw this. It went viral for a while over the weekend. The ad campaign they're running to encourage people to get vaccinated, and it's brilliant. And it probably works better in Europe where there's been harsher lockdowns, but I did think of it in the context of Victoria. And it's people going to get jabbed, and everyone who gets a jab, something comes back. So the shutters on the high street all start coming up on the shops.
Yeah, right.
The next person gets a jab, and the lights at the local movie theatre flip back on. Someone gets a jab, the bowling alley, the pins come down. Someone gets a jab, the lights at the local sporting stadium go back on. It's just immaculately made.
Yeah.
It's a great message.
Wow.
It's one I think we haven't had things locked down.
The line drawing in the full page ad on like page 14 of every newspaper in the country saying, if you're over 50, please read this.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Sounds like, we're treating it like it's tax time.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, that fits the wit of the Commonwealth government, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Health officials are investigating how COVID spread between 3 overseas arrivals. A couple tested positive to the virus on their second day in a quarantine hotel. A third person who was on their flight on the 1st of June and staying in an adjacent room tested positive 2 days later. Anyone staying or working on the same floor is being told to get tested and isolate if they aren't already. Oscar award-winning actor Russell Crowe is expected to unveil plans to establish a new movie production studio on New South Wales' north coast. It would be located at the Pacific Bay Resort in Coffs Harbour. Feels like the movie-making business is booming in Australia at the moment.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff is being made here. There seems to be a
lot of money's being thrown at it too.
Yeah, that's right. The governments are throwing money at it. It's being supported. I know in Hollywood there's this sort of view that, I guess you're going off to make a movie in Australia. It's like the old spaghetti western. It's kind of look like, really?
We should make them instead of Mortal Kombat and things like that.
What, spaghetti westerns?
Yeah, but was it Sergio Leone? Was that the guy? Fistful of Dollars, all of those films?
I think it was, yeah. 23 after 6. Let's talk weather for the moment because it did come down late yesterday. We'll speak to the Bureau about how much we got. 15 the top today. 3 to 8 mils coming today, but it all feels like it got pushed back a little bit yesterday. Thursday now we'll have up to 10 mils of rain. Friday up to 5 mils of rain, just 16 the top on Saturday, which makes it warmer than Friday. Sunday 16, Monday 17, but a wet and cool week for the rest of it on this public holiday shortened weekend. Tom Wren coming up in a moment.
As Australia recovers from COVID-19, Australian Mining is still backing small business. Find out more at minerals.org.au. There's more to Australian mining.
Do you think a concert pianist needs a builder's license? No.
Does a chartered accountant need one? Nah. Okay, then what about a house inspector? This will surprise you. Right now, there are no regulations in the industry that say you must be a builder to become a house inspector. Mike Pearl from House Inspect Australia is a third-generation licensed builder, and his team is the most qualified team in Australia for house inspections. It's the biggest purchase decision of your life. Don't risk it. Go to houseinspectaustralia.com.au.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
It may be a confronting issue, but elder abuse is a problem in our community. It can take many forms: physical, psychological or emotional abuse. There's social and financial abuse or neglect. It doesn't discriminate either. People from all environments, ethnicities and genders are at risk of elder abuse. And sadly, in many cases, the abuser is a family member or carer, which makes it even harder for victims to reach out for help and support. If you think that you or someone you know could be the victim of elder abuse, free, confidential help is available. Call 1800 Elder Help. That's 1800 353 374. Or you can go online to compass.info for support and connections. Authorised by the Attorney General's Office.
The new Nissan Navara is the ultimate work vehicle. Built tough with advanced tech to get the job done. Speak to your local Nissan fleet experts today about tailoring a vehicle solution for your business needs.
Slow right down and set your watch to river time this winter. It's time to book your next escape to the Riverland. How about Berry? At SA Weekend Escapes, discover just how relaxing winter by the Murray can be. Find the best things to see and do and uncover our latest hotel offers in the town of Berry. Plus, book your getaway with one of 10 SA hotels this winter and you'll receive a complimentary bottle of Penfolds Red to warm up your trip. Visit saweekendescapes.com.au to find out more. Holiday here this year.
Avanti Care. Avanti Care. It's important to remember because you may need to call an Avanti Care. It could be for physio treatment, occupational therapy, speech pathology, dietetics or podiatry. It's care delivered with purpose. That purpose might be to get you back to work, enjoying an active life with friends or family, or simply just getting you back to being you. Avanti Care. Real care delivered with real purpose. Visit avanticare.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their end of financial year monster deals. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
27 minutes after 6, Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us to talk sports. Saving to $400 on selected Asco dishwashers. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will and David. Look, we know the Euros are on at the moment, and for those waking up this morning wondering what has happened, France have just beaten Germany 1-0. That's two real heavyweight nations going head-to-head. But France, one of the pre-tournament favourites, very, very strong. They've had a win. And Portugal earlier, they left it late, but 3 goals in the final 8 minutes. Cristiano Ronaldo with 2 of them. They beat Hungary 3-0 rather. So a good result for Portugal in that group. Boys,
poor old Hungary, what a group.
Well, I know, and we know that's a tough group.
France, Germany, Portugal.
Unbelievable. Now, boys, I think we're all on the same page with Dave McKay, but I want to do things a little bit differently. Tribunal hearing tomorrow night. I'm the judge and jury on the AFL Tribunal. You're both representing Dave McKay. You've got 30 seconds to convince me that he shouldn't be suspended for 3 to 4 weeks. You're his counsel representing him tomorrow night.
Poor Dave.
What are you telling me?
He's got us.
Convince me. Yeah. Who wants to start? Pembo?
Well, the term everyone's using is fabric of the game. How much extraneous evidence can you bring in, or do you just have to talk about this specific thing? Because you could actually do an AFL highlights reel of things that would never exist and players that would have been rubbed out, not because they were dirty, just because unfortunate things happened.
Is this part of your argument now?
Well, it's not much of an argument. No, I go, only had eyes for the ball. It was a football action. and his reputation would be my three things. But sadly, I don't think any of those things matter in the eyes of the AFL anymore.
I would argue that the precedent that will be established would mean that there are some things that we love about football that would change, that wouldn't necessarily make it safer, but would inevitably make the game worse. And I'm thinking of things like jumping for a high mark, where your intent is to mark the footy. You knee someone in the back of the head or the neck, they get hurt. You land on them, they get hurt, they break a jaw. You are now duty-bound to suspend that person. What you're now saying is there is an objective greater than winning the football in AFL football. The objective is to avoid knocking into people.
If I was to be devil's advocate and come back and say our objective is to protect players' welfare long term, what do you say?
I would say, well, the inevitable conclusion of that is ban tackling.
Oh, no, just don't play football.
Don't have contact.
Play Scrabble. You know, I mean, don't even play tennis. You might get the racket might fly out of your hand and hit someone. Like, don't leave the house. Don't go rock climbing. Don't ride a bike. You can fall off a bike. You can hit by a car on a bike. Tyre can get a puncture. You can go over the handlebars.
I would like to know
Don't do anything.
The sport that involves people moving at speed, contact or no contact, that has managed to eradicate head-related injuries.
You know what I think too? Watching last night on AFL 360, Robbo and Gerard, who between them have played 0 games and would have been flat out ever being invited to play a game, I would have thought. We're interviewing Jack Rewalt and Adam Treloar. Trengove and... Rewalt and Treloar were almost emphatic in defending McKay. And Gerard and Robbo weren't. And they were tut-tutting and, you know, in their own meandering way. Robbo was sort of, no, it's not about the fabric of the game. It's just, you know, it's a safety issue. It's a huge issue. It's not that big an issue. Well, it's the craziest circular argument. And the players came on and said, hey, look, stuff like that does happen. And this was part of the game. It's not like it's malicious. It's just one of those things. It's terrible for the poor bloke from St Kilda. But the players seem much more
the AFL's almost
just to finish that, Treloar made a really good point. He said, we teach kids when they're 17 to go as fast and as hard as they can at the ball because our view is the harder you go in, the more likely you're going to come out of it all right the other side.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've got a culture of teaching people to do it.
The AFL almost applies the rules as though now footballs were conscripted in. And like we've all been forced to play the game. And like, I didn't sign up for this. Well, yeah, you did. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Tom.
Save up to $500 on selected Asco cooking appliances, Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 15 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
The Prime Minister has been mixing with world leaders and royalty during his trip overseas. Scott Morrison and French President Emmanuel Macron have met at the Elysee Palace in Paris this morning our time. Before he left the UK, the PM struck a new free trade deal with his British counterpart Boris Johnson. He then visited the Queen at Windsor Castle, the pair sharing a laugh in front of photographers.
Wonderful to see you.
Come over here and then they want to take a photograph.
That'd be lovely.
So you were down there, but I didn't see you in Cornwall.
No, that was just the G7 members. We had
you were just a sort of
we were an extension partner, as they call them.
Australian winemakers are raising a glass to the signing of the new free trade agreement. The industry was hit hard last year when Beijing imposed tariffs of up to 218%. Australian Grape and Wine CEO Tony Battling says the agreement will help fill the void left by a collapse in exports to China.
So there's still more talks to be had. There were some more technical issues that we were discussing within the context of the agreement, so we believe they're still under negotiation. But the biggest ticket item was to get those tariffs eliminated, and we understand that they will be, and that makes a big difference for our sector.
South Australia is getting a trade office in mainland Europe. It will be set up in Paris with the aim of growing overseas trade representation. The investment, $1.8 million over 4 years, is a pre-budget announcement. The state's economic blueprint will be handed down next week. A leading epidemiologist has renewed her call for other states and territories to send their supplies of the FIVEaa COVID vaccine to Victoria. Supply concerns have forced Victoria to put the brakes on its rollout to people aged 40 to 50 to ensure it can get through a backlog of bookings for second doses. Professor Mary Louise McLaws believes given the current COVID outbreak, the state should be expanding, not curtailing its rollout.
You know, we're one nation. And if we can keep a hold of this in Victoria and let the poor Victorians off the leash with these lockdowns, then we can start rolling out to the rest of Australia.
A Tamil family, which has made headlines across the country, have been reunited in Perth. Nine's Lucy McLeod has more.
They reunited here at Perth Children's Hospital, visiting 4-year-old Tharanika, who was flown here on an emergency flight for treatment for pneumonia and sepsis, but she's stable and on antibiotics right now. The family will be placed into community detention. They'll have access to health and education support services, but they have no rights to work here in Perth. They've been in detention on Christmas Island since 2019. And the federal government is labelling this latest allowance as compassionate while they wait for their legal proceedings to play out. Finally together again, but still far away from home.
2 children's classics are coming together in a new musical being developed for Broadway. Alice in Neverland will feature the title characters from Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan. Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
He's FIVEaa's Peter Pan. Here's Tom Wren.
Still haven't grown up, that's for sure, Mel. You're my Tinkerbell. Port Adelaide will be hoping to bounce back this Saturday against Gold Coast when they play at Metricon Stadium. The power will be boosted by the return of Scotty Lycett, who served his suspension, while Robbie Gray will play his 250th game. Teammate Ollie Wines telling Rowie he's made a huge contribution at the club.
He's up there with one of the best to ever pull the combined power and Magpies jumper on. So just to see what he's done in big moments of games, showdowns, finals, is really special. And to see him come off his knee, Rico, many years ago and play the footy he has after that is really testament to him and how he goes about it.
To basketball, Melbourne United has come back from 17 points down to beat South East Melbourne Phoenix 84-74 in last night's semi-final decider. Melbourne forward Jock Landale says they're now focused on playing the Perth Wildcats in the grand final.
It's going to be tough. We've got to play those first 2 games in Perth, which is a really tough place to play. So 3 wins left and hopefully we go home with the trophy.
Yeah, best of 5 series coming up there. Well, it's full time in European soccer action this morning with France just holding on for a 1-0 win against Germany. Earlier, Cristiano Ronaldo scored twice as Portugal got over Hungary 3-0. And South Aussie Kyle Chalmers' brilliant form has continued as he qualified fastest for the 100-metre freestyle event at the Tokyo Games. That was at the Olympic swimming trials here in Adelaide last night. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
15 today with showers. Showers increasing tomorrow 16, then the showers will ease on Friday 15. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
Get up to 20% off a huge range of great wheel brands. Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to FIVEaa Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
It's 22 minutes to 7. If you're out on the road north of the city, the Northern Expressway is closed to outbound traffic at the moment due to a serious crash between Two Wells and Gawler at Ward Belt. It should be open around 7 a.m. Detour via Two Wells Road. City-bound is open. If you can tell us what's happened there, it's fairly unusual for this time of morning. 8223 0000 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line 0448 08 1395. Now, we wanted to talk a little bit about small talk, given this exchange between Scott Morrison and the Queen.
You were quite the hit. Everyone was talking about you at dinner the next night.
Oh Lord, were they ready?
For the $100 Waller's gift card, you're in the line, about to meet the Queen. She's heard every version of small talk.
Oh, yeah.
You can say whatever the hell you want. What are you saying? 8223 0000 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line.
So you've only got 10 seconds?
Yep, she's walking along.
So you're not trying to start a conversation?
Nope.
Oh, jeez. What do you say to the Queen?
Hello, David.
I think what you don't do to the Queen It sounded to me, and this isn't a criticism, because as I said, I'd be nervous if I had to talk to the Queen. Our Prime Minister, he seemed to be talking to her in a very especially deliberate way, as if
he was terrified,
old and doddery and can't understand English, when she's one of the sharpest people going around.
She's 95, so I would want to go with something fairly recent. And one of my favourite Queen thing that's happened in some time was her cutting the cake with the big sword.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was excellent. I want to weave the big sword into the conversation. Queen, love what you did with the cake.
No, you know what I'd say to the Queen? Like, Your Majesty, said, I come from a city where one of our biggest and best suburbs is named after you, and you opened it. I'd like to talk to her about Elizabeth.
Oh, you take it very, very earnest.
Yeah. Because she takes an interest in all the peoples of the Commonwealth. I'd like to talk to her about Elizabeth. She'd probably have lots of questions. She'd remember that. She'd remember
quite possibly.
She visited the car plant that's no longer there.
Possibly. Let's see what Pat would say. Morning, Pat.
Good morning, boys. Because of my Irish heritage, I would say, hurry up. I haven't got all day, you know.
Thank you,
I wondered
Pat.
what you were going to do there because of your Irish heritage, Pat.
Yeah, that's right.
Finally.
Pat, possibly could win a $100 Waller's gift card, 8223 No small talk involved with Roger Waters' message to Mark Zuckerberg, the owner and creator of Facebook, who had asked whether they could use... I don't know which song. Do we know which song it was?
It was Another Brick in the Wall. We don't need no education.
Well, he gave Mark Zuckerberg an education in response to the request that they use that piece of music in a Facebook advertisement.
Missive from Mark Zuckerberg to me, right, I wrote this morning with an offer of a huge amount of money, and the answer is you. No.
Yeah, he said go away. In a manner of speaking.
Something slightly punchier than that.
He rejected their thought.
Now, isn't this crackpot idea that Zuckerberg has had for a form of Instagram for people, kids, under the age of 13?
Oh, is it? I'm not even aware of that.
Which is why he wanted another brick in the wall, because it's got that we don't need no education.
Social media.
What sort of a perverse message is that from Zuckerberg? First that little kids, pre-teens, need a social media app all to themselves anyway, but then to want to market it with the youth anthem, we don't need no education. What does that even mean? You actually don't need to go to school. You just sit around sending pictures of yourself to your mates on some kiddie version of Instagram? Like, the guy's a toxic blight on society, isn't he? And good on Roger Waters.
Yeah, that's an excellent response. Matt in Edwardstown has got some small talk for Her Majesty. Morning, Matt.
Morning. I would ask her which of her horses has the best chance of winning at Ascot in racing.
That's good. That's good. I think she'd appreciate that question.
Yeah.
That's excellent, Matt. We're getting some texts as well on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line.
And a lot of them are about football. Andrew and Sue both said, good morning, Majesty. What's your take on the DMAC bump?
Well,
I think she'd say throw it out. She'd be very much like her late husband. She'd be very much of the view that life comes with risk.
I think...
I mean, all the boys have been in the army at some point.
It's a different question whether she's on camera or not, because she's very much about the separation of powers. The monarch doesn't interfere.
But is the AFL Tribunal part of the whole church and state scenario?
I think it is. So here's the scenario.
I thought the answer to a higher authority.
You know how she has that weekly or monthly address with the Prime Minister? If Gil came in to Buckingham Palace to address the Queen, I think in that forum she'd say, seriously.
Yeah.
The McKay bump. But I think publicly she might be more circumspect about it.
Yeah. Few people have gone for the less controversial option of saying, hello, Your Majesty, what about Riley Thilthorpe's goal?
Yeah. She would have seen it.
Yes. And Brett says, did she even know who ScoMo was? She probably thought he was a member of a staff.
All right. Let's check traffic thanks to... Hey, who are we giving the $100 Waller's gift card to first?
No, let's keep it going for a bit.
Oh, okay.
We can revisit that one later.
All right. Fine.
Plenty of time.
Let's,
Another 2.25 hours, mate.
Just executive decision.
Not a race.
All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now. Dave Potter.
Between Tuos and Gawler at Ward Belt, Northern Expressway closed to outbound traffic due to a serious crash. Should be open around 7 this morning with the detour via Tuos Road. Citymount is open. Wingfield North-South Motorway, car broken down the right-hand lane citybound near Cormac Road. And we're seeing some early morning fog today in Crafers West. Speeds reduced on the freeway down to 80 k's. That's between Crafers and the tunnels. Amazon Prime Day is June 21st and 22nd. Start your 30-day free trial and enjoy 2 days of epic Prime Day deals. Amazon Prime Day, 21st and 22nd of June, $6.39 per month after 30 days. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Purchase a FIVEaa built ready tipper before June 30 and receive a $500 voucher to spend at Totally Workwear. T's and C's apply. FIVEaa. Job done.
This used to be in every car. A little lever on the dash. Left for cold air, right for hot air. But no matter how many times Jenny slides it from left to right, the car's just as cold. And no matter how many nights her and her mum sleep in this car, it's just as uncomfortable. For every person you see sleeping on the streets, there are 13 more you don't see. So donate to the Red Shield Appeal today at salvationarmy.org.au to help the Salvos leave no one in need.
We can move the world for you. Cameron's can do. Cameron's.
For over 45 years, Cameron's can-do attitude has seen it weather many challenges, including a pandemic of major proportions. Now in 2021, Cameron's is ready to meet the challenge of managing our clients' logistics around the nation and help drive Australia's economic recovery. What can Cameron's do for you? Camerons.com.au.
We can move the world for you. Cameron's can do. Cameron's.
Now, this is a paid message from the Australian Society of Ophthalmologists. US Managed Healthcare has arrived in Australia, and it's through a joint venture between NIB and the American health giant Cigna Health Corporation. US Managed Healthcare means that health insurer seeks to exert control over your care, including the cost of treatment, the extent of treatment, choice of doctors, choice of hospital, and more. Now, within our Australian system right now, you have got a choice. But with US Managed Healthcare, you won't. It is that simple. So if you want to be able to choose, then let's send the Eagle home. Let your local federal member know that you say no to US Managed Healthcare in Australia. For further information, visit sendtheeaglehome.com.au. Authorised by Kay Gallagher, Australian Society of Ophthalmologists.
Because whistling is what Alice does, she sounds like this. And because home loans are what we do at RAMS, we know all there is to know about getting you into a new home. Talk to the home loan specialists. Search RAMS Home Loans today.
Credit criteria, fees, charges, terms and conditions apply.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Barossa and Clare has always been well worth the trip, and even more so with their end of financial year sale on all certified cars. They currently have SA's largest selection of all makes and models, with a balance of factory warranty on selected models and free 3-year Steinborner certified warranty on SUVs and passenger cars. That's massive value at Steinborner Automotive with their end of financial year sale. Hurry, ends June 30. Steinborner Holden, well worth the trip for 37 years. Steinborner.com.au.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their end of financial year monster deals. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
12 to 7. We'll check weather in just a moment with the Bureau, but first, Saypol, Senior Constable Matt Brown's on the line. Morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, we're not bad. Now there's been a fatal crash at Gawler overnight.
That's right. Well, just before 11:30pm last night, police and emergency services were called to the Northern Expressway at Ward Belt after reports of a collision. And police allege a Holden Cruise was travelling north on the Northern Expressway when the driver collided with wire cabling on the median strip and lost control, causing the vehicle to spin. Now, a second vehicle, a Holden station wagon, also travelling north on the expressway, swerved to avoid colliding with the Cruise. However, it also clipped the cabling and came to a stop a short distance away. And the third vehicle, a Mitsubishi Triton, was driving past the incident, and the driver allegedly crashed into the female driver of the Cruise, who had stepped out of her vehicle. And sadly, the 44-year-old woman from Andrews Farm died at the scene. And the Mitsubishi Triton was located about a kilometre away from the scene. And the driver, a 21-year-old man from Para Hills, was arrested and is expected to be charged with leaving the scene of a fatal crash, aggravated driving without due care and other traffic offences. Now, the number of lives lost on South Australian roads this year is now 51, compared with 45 at this time last year. And there are still road closures in place on the Northern Expressway for a little while longer this morning, while major crash investigators examine the scene. So there will be traffic delays in the Northern Expressway area. So just be conscious of that if you're driving through the area.
Matt, also, police have arrested a woman trying to skip town at the airport.
Oh, that's right, David. Police will allege about on Monday the 14th of June, officers from the Western District CIB searched a house in Athol Park and located a significant quantity of cannabis being grown hydroponically. Police seized a total of 94 cannabis plants, about 5 kilos of dried cannabis and hydroponic equipment, and the electricity supplied to the house had also been tampered with to help power the equipment. So yesterday, police went to the Adelaide airport after they received information that a suspect in the matter was trying to board a flight. And a 24-year-old woman from Athol Park was arrested and charged with cultivating a commercial quantity of a controlled plant, trafficking a large commercial quantity of a controlled plant, possess prescribed equipment and divert electricity. And police will further allege the woman intended to flee South Australia to avoid arrest. And so she was refused bail and appeared in court yesterday. And police urge anyone with information regarding illicit drugs to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000, and you can remain anonymous.
Thank you for that, Matt. Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL. Let's talk weather. Tom Bowick at the Weather Bureau joins us. Tom, I felt like the rain came through a little bit later yesterday, and it seems to have pushed everything back. It's going to be a wet couple of days, it looks like.
Yeah, look, not till the late afternoon yesterday for showers starting for Adelaide, but it was pretty wet through the afternoon and evening period there. 13.6 millimetres for West Terrace was the rain gauge. So a reasonable amount there. Through the hills, 15 to 30 millimetres, even higher. So the highest fall was 30.2 millimetres near Mount Lofty there, with 29.8 at Ashton and 28.8 at Ackland Hill in the southern hills there of just to the south of Adelaide. So, for today, we are still expecting there to be some more shower activity around. It's probably in a little bit of a break at the moment, but I think we'll see a little bit more shower activity developing during the morning. Probably not as wet as yesterday, but and looks as though those showers will sort of start to ease as we move into the afternoon period there. Maximum of 15 degrees for Adelaide, Elizabeth, Glenelg, Noarlunga, and just 12 degrees at Mount Barker. And we do have a road weather alert current for some fog and low cloud in the hills for this morning. Into Thursday, we have another system moving up behind the low pressure system that caused the rain yesterday, so that'll keep some shower activity going with maximum 16 degrees, and similarly for Friday, 15 with some showers around. Weekend is looking like mostly sort of drying up, maybe a slight chance of a shower on Saturday, but not a great deal, and at 16. A dry day on Sunday after possibly some sort of morning fog for the northern suburbs, 16 degrees. And this stage, Monday 17 and dry. Tuesday next week, a slight chance of a shower, probably not much in it at this stage, 17, but there is another low sort of moving into the Bight region at that point, so we'll have to see what that one ends up doing to us.
Beautiful stuff, Tom. Thanks for that.
Okay, bye-bye.
8 to 7, we'll flash back with Michael Smith in just a moment. Also got some more entries regarding a $100 Wohlers gift card for what you'd say to the Queen if you had your 10 seconds like the PM did.
I love this one from Rob on the Telstra Mount Barker text line. He says, Your Majesty, I hear you're in next year's big freeze. Which character do you think will be sliding down as?
That's excellent.
That is really good.
Next year I'll be
Maybe
going
Meatloaf.
as Damien Hardwick.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Pity Freddie Mercury's not still with us. He could go as Nick Rewalt. Kaz in Brompton, this is nice. She says, G'day, folks. I'd ask the Queen what her favourite gin is. My dearly departed mum overheard a conversation between the monarch and one of her minders at about 4:30 p.m. when she was visiting Adelaide a couple of decades ago. Gin o'clock.
That's excellent, Kaz. That's an insightful entry.
Maybe Never Never Distillers down in McLaren Vale.
There's plenty of options. Adelaide Hills,
Hills, yeah.
Yeah, we punch pretty well in the gin stakes in South Australia.
Do we ever?
Let's go to Manapara. Maddie, good morning.
Morning, fellas. How are you?
Good, mate.
Good, thanks, Maddie.
I'd ask her for her best John Blake impersonation.
John Blake does a great impression of the Queen.
Yes.
He's Queen. Has been picked up by advertisers far beyond FIVEaa for its likeness.
Has it really?
Sure has.
I didn't know that.
It's frightening likeness to the Queen herself. Uncanny. That's excellent, Matty. Thank you. 8223 or text us on 044808 1395. Michael Smith coming up in just a moment.
This could be more than just another ad. It could be the moment you decide to upgrade your drive. The Mazda Moment End of Financial Year sale is on now. It's your moment to drive home an exceptional vehicle at an outstanding price. Like Mazda CX-3 Neo Sport from $24,990 drive away. Or great value for ABN holders and primary producers across the Mazda BT50 Ute range. The Mazda Moment End of Financial Year sale. Visit your Mazda dealer today.
With effortlessly perfect artificial grass by Australian Outdoor Living, there's less of this and more of this. Transform your yard and start enjoying your weekends with realistic artificial grass. Join thousands of your neighbours and put your home in hands you can trust.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Here's your cuppa, Bev.
Thanks, Barry. Looks like the neighbours are clearing out early.
Bev and Barry are grey nomads. They love a roadside campsite, a cuppa in the morning, and watching the other adventurers come and go.
Hey, Barry, looks like they're getting pretty close to that tree.
Oh, they'll need to visit Walker Crash Repairs, Bev. You can always relax on the road with Walker Crash Repairs, an RAA-approved crash repairer for caravans and cars.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Get up to 20% off a huge range of great wheel brands. Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
4 to 7, still to come on the program this morning. Sean Fuster after 7:30. We're around the courts. Tom Duday a little bit later, and right now we're flashing back with Michael Smith from 7 News. Michael, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will and Dave. David, I'm interested to hear you're taking your new wheels to Kangaroo Island soon.
Oh, yes. Only a few weeks from now, I'll be heading over on the mighty Sea-Link ferry.
Are we flashing back today to the Toyota Hilux, Michael? You might, a grown man might cry.
You mentioned the Sea-Link. It's a nice sort of fast and painless trip from Cape Jervis to Penneshaw. But on Flashback tonight, we're remembering the days when it took up to 8 hours to get to Kangaroo Island. We're remembering the MV True Bridge, which ran from Port Adelaide to Kingscote and on to Port Lincoln. For those who don't remember it, it used to load up alongside Hart's Mill at the port. In fact, you can still see the old loading ramp down there. It took generations of South Australians to KI, an important lifeline. If you didn't go on a family holiday, you might have gone on a school trip. I've caught up with Rod Allen, who was an able seaman on the True Bridge. It was his job to secure all the cars, the cargo, and the caravans. He had very good sea legs, but he admits it wasn't always a smooth ride for the passengers.
She had stabilisers on it, but she was a bit top heavy. She still used to rock around the clock a little bit. Yeah, many times I went to relieve the helmsman on the wheel and walking up the saloon deck eating an orange or something, and the passengers see me eating it and then it'd be over the side and a bit of a chuck.
Did it really take that long to get to KI, or was that the full trip from Port Adelaide to KI and then on to Port Lincoln?
No, the scheduled trip from Port Adelaide to Kingscote was 6.5 hours in good weather. Rod was saying when the seas picked up around Rapid Bay, get particularly green around the gills for some people, and it could take 8 hours to get to Kingscote. And then on to Port Lincoln was another story in itself, and that could often get really rough. Ran from 1961 to 87. Interestingly, it featured in the film Gallipoli, you might remember. It was used as a troop ship by the Film Corporation in that classic Aussie movie. Only licensed to carry 36 passengers, so it was really designed as a goods and cargo ship. and the seats that were used in it were from an old Ansett DC-3. So people might have memories of particularly long trips, because it used to run overnight from Kingscote back to Port Adelaide. Ended up going on, once it was decommissioned here, to serve in the Mediterranean before it was scrapped, and was replaced by the Island Seaway, you might remember, which was a bit of a white elephant, not terribly successful. The Sea-Link service today, far superior to anything that we had running out of Port Adelaide.
Sea-Link's great, and there's recurring talk about having some sort of direct ferry going from Glenelg. That talk sort of emerges from time to time, but Sea-Link do a terrific job. Well,
they had that Superflight service from the end of Glenelg Jetty in the 90s, from memory, but didn't they have a lot of trouble trying to get it to anchor alongside the Glenelg Jetty? It wasn't that successful.
Yeah, I think that was the issue, not enough depth there. But good to hear from our listeners with their memories of the Trowbridge.
Absolutely. Love to hear from someone. Michael, terrific flashback. Thank you for that.
Thanks, guys.
Michael Smith from 7 News. 8223 is the number. So in the same time it would have taken you to get to Kangaroo Island, you can now fly. Singapore is about 7 hours and 15 minutes. I was trying to think of the most major destination that takes 8 hours to get to.
Yeah. You could get to Thailand.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you could get to...
Almost?
Yeah. I think Bangkok's a bit further on, but you could probably get to...
Phuket.
5AA News is on the way.
If I go to Phuket again, I'll die happy.
I love Thailand, but Phuket is...
That's an example of what happens
great.
when tourism just is allowed to do whatever the hell it wants. It is just the most congested, with no infrastructure to support that many people.
We find a Phuket a fair bit. If you ever... Khao about an hour and a half, 2 hours drive north is magnificent, and it's a much nicer place to go to. Let's take a break. 5AA News is on the way. On the other side, we'll get to some of the big news overnight out of the UK, and also a gong for a couple of former guests on 5AA Breakfast.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 15 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
A man's been arrested following a fatal collision in the Barossa. Just before 11:30 last night, police and emergency services were called to the Northern Expressway ward belt after reports of a crash. Police will allege a Holden cruise travelling north on the expressway made contact with wire cabling on the median strip and lost control. A second car, a Holden station wagon, swerved to avoid colliding with the cruise, but also clipped the wire cabling and came to a stop a short distance away. A third vehicle, a Mitsubishi Triton, drove past the incident. The driver allegedly crashed into the female driver of the cruise who'd stepped out of her vehicle. The 44-year-old from Andrews Farm died at the scene. Senior Constable Matt Brown says investigations are continuing.
Now, the number of lives lost on South Australian roads this year is now 51, compared with 45 at this time last year. And there are still road closures in place on the Northern Expressway for a little while longer this morning while major crash investigators examine the scene.
The Prime Minister is on the last leg of his overseas trip, meeting the French President in Paris. Scott Morrison and Emmanuel Macron have held one-on-one talks on a range of issues, the troubled submarine contract among them. Making brief remarks at the Elysee Palace, Mr Morrison spoke of the common goals both countries share.
Liberty and affinity. The first of these words is something that the French know much about. No one understands liberty more than the French. Affinity is the word we use to describe our partnership on everything from countering terrorism to our partnership in the Indo-Pacific.
Before that meeting, the Prime Minister met with the Queen at Windsor Castle, telling her she was quite the hit at the G7 summit in the UK. The meeting took place following the free trade agreement between Australia and the United Kingdom. The pair speaking in front of photographers in the Royal Residence's Oak Room.
You were quite the hit. Everyone was talking about you at dinner the next night.
Oh Lord, were they ready?
They were thrilled to see you.
Australian farmers are hoping to be among the big winners of the free trade deal. The UK will gradually reduce tariffs on Australian farm products over a 15-year period. National Farmers Federation Chief Executive Tony Marr says it puts them in a stronger position.
We're, now globally competitive and world's best practice, and the scale is something just completely different. Production systems really, the numbers and the size of the farms here just dwarf the size and the numbers over in the UK.
The trade agreement covers agriculture as well as cooperation on security, climate change and technology. Disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein will be extradited to Los Angeles County to face further sexual assault charges. Weinstein is currently serving a 23-year prison sentence after being found guilty in New York last year of first-degree criminal sexual acts and third-degree rape. He's also charged with 11 counts of sexual assault in LA involving 5 women. And Julie Bishop has been honoured by Barbie. A one-of-a-kind doll made in her likeness has been produced by Mattel as they name the former politician and businesswoman their official role model for Australia for 2021. Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to $500 on selected ASCO cooking appliances. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Richmond's Jack Revolt believes Adelaide's Dave McKay should not be suspended over the collision which left St Kilda's Hunter Clark with a broken jaw. Revolt has told AFL 360 he made a textbook attack at the contest and believes if McKay is banned, it'll muddy the waters for players looking to win the football.
I think it will add hesitation and confusion into the current day player's head in terms of how to pick the ball up. Because if he leads with his own head there, he's obviously putting himself in a position to seriously damage his head, and I think it would certainly add a sense of confusion in if it went that way.
Well, the Socceroos have finished with a perfect 8 from 8 record in the second round of World Cup qualifying, beating Jordan 1-0. Harry Souttar with the winner in the 76th minute.
In swinging corner, Souttar! Another international goal for Big Harry.
That audio there thanks to Fox. Meantime, 2 games at the Euros this morning. France beating Germany 1-0, while Portugal took care of Hungary 3-0. Cristiano Ronaldo with a double. Let's go to basketball. Melbourne United will take on the Perth Wildcats in the NBL Grand Final after recording an impressive come-from-behind 10-point win in their deciding Game 3 of their series last night. But it was a bad day for the Aussies in the NBA, with Ben Simmons' Philadelphia 76ers going down by 3 points to the Atlanta Hawks, while Joe Ingles also had a loss for Utah as they went down by 14 points to the LA Clippers. And at the Olympic swimming trials here in Adelaide, Kyle Chalmers has qualified and will defend his gold medal in the men's 100-metre freestyle at the Tokyo Olympics. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now checking FIVEaa traffic.
Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles. Now at Dave Potter.
Between Two Wells and Gawler at Ward Belt, Northern Expressway closed to outbound traffic. That's due to a serious crash that could be closed till around 8 o'clock this morning with the detour via Two Wells Road. Citybound is open. At Clovelly Park, got a burst water main South Road near Norrie Avenue, speeds out to 40. And seeing some early morning fog this morning at Crafers West on the freeway, speeds drop down to 80. That's between Crafers and the tunnels. Beat the cold with a home heater from Barbecues Galore, with the best range of fireplaces starting from just $799. Hurry in today to a Barbecues Galore store near you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Showers for your Wednesday, 15. Showers increasing tomorrow, 16. And the showers will ease on Friday. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
In the last hour on Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Trade agreement covers agriculture as well as cooperation on security, climate change and technology.
There'll be free exchange of British rent-a-poms, and indeed Australian campaign managers will be able to come more easily to work in.
The joke there from Johnson was that his campaign manager is an Adelaide boy.
Yes.
Linton Crosby. Rent-a-poms. I like the idea of rent-a-poms. This could actually see a bit of a renaissance of Australians heading off to the UK. Yep. What sort of a perverse message is that from Zuckerberg? First that kids, little kids, pre-teens, need a social media app all to themselves anyway, but then to want to market it with the youth anthem, we don't need no education. What does that even mean? What, you actually don't need to go to school, you just sit around sending pictures of yourself to your mates on some kiddie version of Instagram? Like, the guy's a toxic blight on society, isn't he?
What you'd say to the Queen if you had your 10 seconds like the PM did? Maddie, good morning.
I'd ask her for her best John Blake impersonation.
You're listening to FIVEaa Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes after 7.
Did I just give away the ending?
I think that's the first time.
Did I just say
we've
that?
been doing this program for many years now. That's the first time.
We just go with it?
You've ever announced the winner of the Waller's gift card when you thought you were off, Mike.
Well, should we just
announce it? Just announce it, since
Maddie,
you did anyway.
Maddie, you've won the Waller's voucher. That was excellent.
That's right. We didn't want to keep you in suspense any longer than we had to.
No, that's why I said into a live microphone, I reckon Maddie should win. So, Maddie, you've won. Well done.
Simple as that.
We run a tight ship here.
Sean Fuster coming up after 7:30 on the show. Tom Duday a little bit later in the morning as well. Some of the big news going on around South Australia and the world. The in-principle free trade agreement has been signed between the United Kingdom and Australia. Happened at about 5:30 p.m. yesterday when the rain was coming down here in Adelaide. The big win for Australia is, of course, tariffs being removed progressively on things like beef and lamb. For our part, we were haggling over the component of this that went to how easily Brits could come to Australia and work here and the sort of work they were required to do. So tariffs on the things like meat and lamb will be phased out over the course of a decade. And some of the figures around this right now are staggering. Lamb currently has a tariff as high as 80% in the UK.
You're kidding.
80%. So theoretically, over a decade,
80%
that will disappear. See, think about that. If you're involved in that sort of trade, what that'll mean to have access to the fifth largest economy in the world.
So if we exported some lamb chops to Britain for the very reasonable price of $20 a kilo, they would cost $36 in the shop.
Yep, that's right.
Is that to protect like 15 blokes in Dorset who've got a bunch of sheep walking around with black faces?
It's fun. I've spoken to.
How big's the British lamb industry? It's probably reasonably big, actually.
It's
not as big as ours.
I've spoken to people farmers in Australia who've been pushing for this kind of stuff in Europe, and they go to trade conventions in Europe when it comes to farming before, and they say it's kind of eye-opening when you go over there and that they're talking about things like water efficiency or feedstock efficiency or things, and then you start writing on the napkin next to the guy you're with, Pierre from France. So how many head of cattle have you got? And they'll have, I've got 16. What, 1,000? No, 16. Oh, okay.
Well, it's just 16.
Well, I mean, that's...
They've all got names. Jean-Michel,
The
Pierre.
scale of our industry is so much bigger.
Yeah.
They said our guys go over there and start talking about all these sorts of things, and it's like they're working in a different industry because
You're not
the
rounding
process
them up
is
with a
different.
helicopter.
Exactly right. It's just totally different, which is why we have a huge advantage, and there is going to be blowback in the UK on some of these measures. That's why there are protections built in. If our exports surge, the tariffs that slowly are being wound back will get pushed back by 5 years. So if taking these 80% down to 60, 40, whatever, means that we suddenly go through the roof over there, they'll slow the process a little bit. But still, over the course of that 15 years, they'll be removed.
We did that with the car industry in the
exactly
late
right.
90s.
Same thing.
John Howard brought in what was called a tariff pause to take the pressure off what was left then. Holden and Ford was it. Toyota as well.
So same thing's happening with beef, which is good news. We dropped a condition that a British citizen on a 12-month working visa could extend that for another 12 months if they spent 88 days working in an agricultural industry. Ironically, our agricultural industry is a little unhappy that now they're going to have to source labour in other ways. Here is a triumphant Scott Morrison talking about the deal.
I said we would wait for the right deal, Boris, and I think we've got the right deal, between UK and Australia. And that just lays the foundation further for the bigger partnership we have.
Boris Johnson was a little more expansive.
I think it is a good deal. It is, and it's one that I think will benefit British farmers and British consumers as well. I'm not going to exaggerate the overall increase in our respective GDPs that will flow from this, but I think it's more important politically and symbolically. $175 billion, I think, is Australia's trade with China. I think Australia's trade with the UK is currently the order of $15 billion. So you can see the difference in the scale.
I think the sensible thing about it, and hindsight is a wonderful thing, but I was talking to a winemaker last year after some stuff that I did around the Chinese consulate, and he said, I've been on heaps of these trade missions to China, and every time I've gone up there, I've just thought, nothing about this feels right. This just feels like a totally mercenary capital exchange, what we're doing here. And, there's no political affinity between the two countries.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that we shouldn't always strive to get on well with countries that have different systems and, obviously you've got to reserve the right to speak out when they breach what we regard as inalienable universal standards. But so much of our trade focus, and this is where I think the unis really need to pull over and give themselves an uppercut. Like, I went to a function recently headed by the 3 university vice-chancellors, and I thought that the case that Flinders University put for the return of international students just sounded so overstated, so overblown and so flimsy. Now, I'm in favour of returning overseas students, but to me it looks like the universities have become utterly witless. Ostensibly the smartest people in Australia have become so wholly dependent on one key revenue source, and that is students from China. So the more that we can start thinking, actually, let's just return to our roots in a way, find like-minded people to trade with. There's enough decent like-minded countries in the world to set up trade blocks to keep their economies chugging on forevermore, you'd think.
Yeah, I think that holds true for trades. The problem with students is I don't think people from the UK or the US aren't going to... They've got perfectly good education institutions in their own country. I think that's the issue. I don't think no one from... You can go to places that are just as world-class in those countries.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, you're not going to think, well, I could go to Oxford, I could go to Cambridge, or I could go to University of South Australia.
Yeah, that's right. That's the challenge that they face. Hey, this was a really nice story. A couple of guys that we had on the program not so long ago, Marcus and Reese, 15-year-olds, have won the National Rescue Medal. You might recall they rescued a 13-year-old boy who was swept out to sea by a rip at Goolwa Beach, and they joined us shortly after the rescue to talk about it.
We were down there for the day because it was a nice day, and we were driving to leave, and the mum of the little boy that we rescued came up to the car and was screaming and yelling that her son was in the water. So we both jumped out and swam out past the break and got pointed in the direction of where he was last seen. And Marcus actually got to him first, and when we got there, we put his arms around our shoulders and slowly swam in. We were a good 500 metres out to sea. And once we got near shore, a guy came out with a boogie board, so we put him on it and took him all the way into the beach and put him in the recovery position so that if he threw up, it wouldn't go back into his mouth or anything, and waited for the little buggy to come and take him up to the surf club.
They had to swim more than 1K.
Yeah.
But now,
in open sea.
I'm flat out... Have you ever been in a pool and tried to do a lap? I'm flat out doing a lap. By the end of it, I'm
really?
stuffed.
What, one lap?
Yeah, I'm stuffed doing a lap.
Seriously?
Yeah. 1K.
Mate, even I can do a few laps. When I say a few, I literally mean a few. Actually, maybe I can do 2 laps.
Yeah. Well, 1K is hard to fathom. And good on them. The National Rescue Medal, Marcus Morgan, Reese Hyatt, congratulations to you both.
I love that interview.
And just to look forward to next week too. The state budget is coming out next week. It'll be fascinating to see what comes out of it. The Advertiser's done some terrific reporting this morning on the fact there's going to be an extra $1 billion in it that was largely unaccounted for at this time a year ago, due to the fact that A, we received much more than in GST revenue than expected from the federal government, but also this boom in housing prices has tipped $200 million extra into the coffers. So we'll be covering it all next week, but just a little extra look forward. What will the state government do with that extra $1 billion?
It's also Rob Lucas's last budget. Before he leaves politics at the next election.
Will he want to make a statement?
It'll be 40 years next year since he entered Parliament.
It's an amazing run.
I'm trying to work out, haven't been able to do it. I think he's the longest serving MP in Australia.
Yeah, it's rarefied air.
He's longer serving than anyone in the federal parliament now.
He's longer serving than I've been living.
Yeah, you were just a twinkle in your dad's eye, mate.
All right, let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal right now on used and executive-driven vehicles.
Between Two Wells and Gawler at Ward Belt, the Northern Expressway is closed to outbound traffic due to a serious crash. That could be closed till around 8 o'clock with the detour via Two Wells Road. Citymount is open though. Cleverley Park got a burst water main. South Road near Norrie Avenue, speeds reduced to 40 k's for Citybound. And seeing some early morning fog today at Crafers West, speeds reduced down to 80 k's. That's between Crafers and the tunnels. If you can't remember the last time you had your brakes checked, it's been too long. Get them checked now. Call 1300 Automasters or book online at automasters.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
It's like meeting a mate at the mall's balls. Blowing the froth of a Cooper's in Rundle Street, then catching a show at the Fringe. There are things that we just do best. The things that make our state great. It's who we are. Local, iconic, proud. There is SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. FIVEaa.
The Price Attack Big Bottle Sale is on now. Big brands, big savings. For Australia's most popular professional hair care products, shop in store and online today at Price Attack.
The countdown is on. You have less than 2 days until the early bird deadline in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Don't miss your chance to win a Porsche Taycan. Plus, your ticket stays in the draw to win the ultimate beachside lifestyle in the grand prize home on the Esplanade at South Brighton and $1 million cash. Imagine watching sunsets from your balcony mortgage-free. Join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care by purchasing your tickets now at homelottery.com.au. Licence M13989.
Nothing beats that new car experience, and you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Kluger 7-seat hybrid SUV from Jarvis Toyota. With all-wheel drive, hybrid power and intelligent safety technology, the Kluger is where freedom meets family. The buzz around the new Kluger is huge, and you can experience it for yourself with a test drive at Jarvis Toyota Clovelly Park today. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Kluger Hybrid at Jarvis Toyota South Road, Clovelly Park. Proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
It's the little things that make a big difference to your day, like a thank you email from a colleague or a smile from a stranger on the train. And it can all start here, with a healthy, delicious breakfast made with the goodness of Aussie-made Pura milk. It's got 8 essential nutrients and vitamins to kickstart your morning and set you up for the day ahead. So start your day the positive way with Pura.
Care Alert, a great family company that have given us life-saving products for over 35 years. Well, here's some exciting news. Care Alert can now protect you anywhere at any time. Their new GPS Go Anywhere system is loaded with features like fall detection, satellite tracking, plus in an emergency it can even call 000. All this for a low $379. If you have My Aged Care or NDIS funding, it could be free. Call Care Alert on 1300 75 85 95.
Wildflowers Cafe is now open at Centennial Park. A perfect place to spend time and take in the magnificent Centennial Park gardens while you connect and reflect in the uplifting cafe space. Enjoy a drink, snack or lunch with your family and friends. And remember those you've loved and lost. Wildflowers Cafe at Centennial Park. Compassion, inclusion, choice. Open 7 days, Monday to Friday, 8 to 3:30 p.m. and Saturday, Sundays and public holidays, 10 to 3 p.m.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Get up to 20% off a huge range of great wheel brands. Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 after 7. We spoke about it yesterday. Really scary incident at the Euros. Christian Eriksen, a man in the prime of his life, a star on the world football stage, suddenly collapsed in the middle of the game.
Play is going to be halted again, and this does look serious. Well, Christian Eriksen in some distress by the look of things.
Well, players knew straight away that was a heavy fall.
Well, you can tell immediately, can't you, from players' body language. And this is a country with a social conscience, and they can see the bigger picture.
Yeah, the Dane collapsed. It was a really scary scene. We understand now his heart did stop, and the medical professionals that went in to treat him realised quickly that was the case. There's question marks that have been raised about the fact that an ambulance didn't arrive for some 15 minutes. His survival is being credited to the fact there was a defibrillator at the ground. So we thought on 5AA Breakfast this morning, we'd talk about the defibrillator and the role that it's playing increasingly in places you didn't historically see them. I know there's a host of restaurants I go to now. You see them on the wall. They're not out of place. They're all over the shop, and they clearly do save lives, as dramatically demonstrated at the football. Michael Borrowdale is from the St John's Ambulance Service and joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Michael, good morning to you.
So, Michael, just for people who don't have a deep knowledge of medical science, how do these things actually work? Is it just like basically an electric shock, a quick electric shock to the heart?
That's exactly what it is. It's a controlled electric shock delivered. Many people who suffer a cardiac arrest, so their heart stops and they stop breathing, it's caused by an electrical arrhythmia or a disturbance in the heart. And so the defibrillator essentially delivers that shock and says to the heart, I need you to reset and start pumping normally again.
So, Mike, what are the rules around where defibrillators need to be? Are there any, or is it just at the discretion of businesses, or are there some places the government says, no, they need to be there?
No, so there is no actual rules, but many businesses, schools, sports clubs have recognised that these devices are life-saving and have installed them. There's some amazing areas like Kangaroo Island where there are over 30 of these public access defibrillators available, and other venues such as Adelaide Oval that has 20 of them available for both players and patrons.
And is it like any technology? Are they becoming cheaper with the passage of time? And is there an argument for people to think about, maybe getting one?
Absolutely. So when I started in this field of work 25 years ago, they were about $30,000. Now they're roughly between $2,000 to $3,000. So many businesses look at that they're the same cost as a decent coffee machine, but more critical to their workplace.
What kind of training do you need to use one?
Oh, absolutely nothing. The devices, once you turn them on, will actually guide you through how to use the machine, both with visual prompts and voice prompts. Also, when you call 000, the call takers from the ambulance service can also help guide you through.
It's absolutely fascinating, Michael. I wonder if if the price continues to come down, maybe it's something we'll see in every household. Appreciate you joining us this morning.
No problems. You're welcome. Thank you.
Michael Borrowdale from St John's here in South Australia.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I didn't
realise.
realise.
It's like the plasma TV. It was like 30. So 20 years ago they were 30 grand, and now they're 2 to 3.
I just figured you needed some level of advanced medical training.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I think
to put an electric charge into someone's heart. But
yeah.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. As you say, technology's becoming more and more advanced and easier to use. So medical technology would follow suit, you'd imagine.
Packer-whackers.
Packer-whackers, that's right. You put them in the back of every ambulance.
That's right. After he crossed over to the other side,
I wonder if anyone
famously said, I've been to the other side and I can tell you there's nothing there. Kerry Packer. He probably thought he was bigger than God.
I wonder if any of our listeners have ever used them before. I wonder if we've got anyone that's had to apply.
Mate of mine who works for Frank Pangallo just texted saying that Frank currently has a bill before Parliament to make defibrillators compulsory in all public buildings.
Yeah, well, having listened to that, makes a little bit of sense. 8223000, the number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line, 044808 1395. Roey's going to need a defibrillator if David McKay gets suspended. It's been a big talking point on the program, on the sports show. The all-new Kluger Hybrid has arrived at North Point Toyota. Book your test drive. It is the North Point way, and he got into a discussion with Warren Treadray about it last night.
I've got some questions to ask you. I've read a great article on The Age newspaper, right? Yep. Greg Baum written it. Do we want to, I'm asking you these questions, and the 5AA listeners too, do we want to eliminate collisions altogether?
No.
No. Fair enough, right? Is it possible to minimise head injuries?
Yes.
Well, that's what we've been doing, haven't we? Bumps, ruling out the bump, head-on, front-on
Choose
contact.
the bump, you hit a head, you get a game.
Accidental head
Sling
clashes
tackles,
this year, that changed with the Dangerfield one. I didn't like it, but that's the reality. But if the AFL want to eliminate accidents, right, you have to ban physical contact. It's the only way.
It's the only way.
So,
or you allow accidental collisions in the game,
well, that's
which is
my
what
point.
I've said from day one.
That's my point. If we say football is a game of accidents and mistakes, how do you then suspend David McKay for a 50-50 contest?
It was a great contest.
Two players did not shirk the contest.
No.
Arguably, McKay had better form into protecting yourself as you were taught.
At the last minute.
And Hunter Clark was a little bit left open, right? People say he bumped him.
No, he
didn't bump him because
his
arm was outstretched to win the ball.
Correct.
And unfortunately, his arm was 20 centimetres away from the ball. Hunter Clark's was 10. And he got there first. No one bumped. It's split second. It's an accident. So, as I say, do we want to eliminate accidents?
No.
Because we can't.
No, you can't.
And this is my problem with this. You had two Warriors go to win the ball. They put their head down, one come off second best.
Which can happen.
Not by breaking a rule.
Yep.
He did not break a rule.
Not one rule.
So then you cannot suspend David McKay.
I think everyone listening, or the majority of people listening, agree with every word of that, but all concede that he'll get suspended. Because...
Do you reckon he will?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about the time Hurd ran into that guy's knee in FIVEaa, and it was one of the most sickening injuries ever sustained by an AFL player? But should that, in hindsight, should that guy not have been there? Was his knee in the way? Is there... There's a strict liability thing in the law where, if you're on the road, by dint of being on the road, even if the accident is 100% somebody else's doing, you're sort of technically involved in it just by being there. I mean, are we getting that legalistic with everything?
The AFL got spooked by the legal action in the US against the NFL, and the NFL had no warning that it was coming and made no attempt to change things. They didn't know that the storm that was upon them. And guess what? It still exists as a sport. And guess what? People still get injured over there. They made some changes to try to make it safer, to prove that they made an effort. The AFL's already making an effort. They're jumping at shadows now. They're running scared of some eventuality that's not out there. Yes, they might have to pay for past sins, but the change has happened. You don't need to try and eliminate every form of risk. All right, it's 5AA News Time. Sean Fuster will join us, and we'll talk about a trial in the traditional court right after this.
Thanks to RAA's free app, all South Aussies can now find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Download the My RAA app from your app store today. It's free, even if you're not an RAA member.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Barossa and Clare has always been well worth the trip, and even more so with their end of financial year sale on all certified cars. They currently have SA's largest selection of all makes and models, with a balance of factory warranty on selected models and free 3-year Steinborner certified warranty on SUVs and passenger cars. That's massive value at Steinborner Automotive with their end of financial year sale. Hurry, ends June 30. Steinborner Holden, well worth the trip for 37 years. Steinborner.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 15 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Lusher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
A 44-year-old woman from Andrews Farm has died following a collision on the Northern Expressway Ward Belt. Police will allege a Holden cruise travelling north late last night made contact with wire cabling on the median strip and spun out. A Holden station wagon then swerved to avoid the cruise, but also clipped the wire cabling. A third vehicle, a Mitsubishi Triton, drove past the incident. The driver allegedly slammed into the female driver of the cruise, who'd gotten out of her car. Senior Constable Matt Brown says an arrest has been made.
The Mitsubishi Triton was located about a kilometre away from the scene. The driver, a 21-year-old man from Para Hills, was arrested and is expected to be charged with leaving the scene of a fatal crash, aggravated driving without due care and other traffic offences.
A Tamil family have spent their first night in Perth as a family of 4 after being released from immigration detention. The father and sister of a sick 4-year-old who had to be medically evacuated landed in Perth last night. The family were permitted to stay on the mainland under a community detention order until their legal case to remain in Australia plays out. The state opposition says the booming housing industry means the government has no excuse not to fix the ramping crisis. Figures to be revealed in next week's state budget are expected to show a $200 million stamp duty windfall as the housing market continues to flourish. Shadow Treasurer Stephen Mulligan says that means the government can fix some problems.
It's now clear this extra revenue means the government's got capacity here to finally address the ramping crisis engulfing our hospitals. And it's now an opportunity to help first home buyers into home ownership at this difficult time when prices continue to skyrocket.
Tariffs on key Australian farm exports will be gradually reduced over 15 years as part of a new free trade deal with the UK. It marks Britain's first major trade agreement since leaving the European Union last year. Restrictions on working visas have also been eased. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson believes overall it's a good deal for both countries.
People can go work much more easily in Australia both ways. There'll be free exchange of British rent-a-poms, and indeed Australian campaign managers will be able to come more easily to work in this country.
US President Joe Biden is preparing for a face-to-face meeting with his Russian counterpart. Nine's Alison Petrowski has more.
President Biden and President Putin will sit down for marathon talks tomorrow with the aim of achieving stability between the United States and Russia. The White House anticipating the talks will last between 4 and 5 hours. Top on the US president's agenda will be the recent spate of ransomware attacks on key pieces of American infrastructure, as well as the treatment of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny and a prisoner swap for 2 US citizens currently held in Russian jails. Joe Biden has been consulting with top Russia experts about how to handle the talks. The two leaders will hold separate press conferences tomorrow following the summit.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
With all the footy news, here's Tom Wren.
Yeah, thank you, Mel. Let's start there. Adelaide forward Riley Thilthorpe admits he wasn't sure of the score late in the game against St Kilda. Thilthorpe kicked the winning goal, which put the Crows 5 points up with less than a minute to play. But he had a shot for goal a minute earlier, which he kicked out on the full. The 18-year-old admitting to Rowie and Cornsey he didn't know how important a point could have been.
I actually didn't even know we were only down by 1 point. I thought we were down by 3, so I didn't know how important the point would have been, which probably hurt me in the end there. Yeah, the scoreboard's really hard to see, so I had no idea.
Worked out in the end. Well, Adelaide United forward Ben Halloran has won the Aurelio Vidmar medal for best and fairest for this season for an outstanding year of work. Marushka Waldus claimed the Diane Alagich Award for the Lady Reds. Well, the Socceroos have maintained their perfect record in World Cup qualifying after beating Jordan 1-0. It means they finished top of their group with 24 points ahead of the next round of qualifying. Still on soccer, and Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't taken long to put his mark on the Euros with a brace for Portugal as they beat Hungary 3-0. But it wasn't easy for his side, with scores deadlocked until the 84th minute. But 3 goals in 8 minutes saw them secure all 3 points.
Cristiano Ronaldo. It's Ronaldo. He does it again.
Audio there thanks to Optus. Meantime, France has beaten Germany 1-0 in this morning's other game. And Melbourne United's through to the NBL Grand Final after beating South East Melbourne by 10 points. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles, now at Dave Potter.
Expect a few delays if you're heading between Two Wells and Gawler today at Waterbelt. The Northern Expressway closed to outbound traffic due to a serious crash. Could be close to around 8 o'clock this morning with the detour via Two Wells Road, citybound open. Clovelly Park burst water main there, South Road near Norrie Avenue. And we're seeing some early morning fog at Crafers West. That's on the freeway. Speeds reduced down to 80 k's. That's between Crafers and the tunnels. Queensland's balmy winters are good to go. Book 5 nights on the Gold Coast from just $599 at myqueensland.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Heading for a top of 15 today with showers. The showers will increase tomorrow, 16, then ease on Friday, 15. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Well, I'm here with Clayton Sheehan from Australian Direct. He's the man behind the Kick-Ass brand. Thanks for joining us, Clayton.
Thanks, Lee.
Hey, Clayton, tell us about your first product.
Well, the first product that I ever sold, I found online, and it was a heat exchanger. He had a bad description on his website. I asked him if I could rewrite the description and sell them for him.
So how then does it evolve to Kick-Ass?
Well, we were selling other people's products, but I was talking to the customers directly, and I was getting feedback about changes and improvements that could be made. I told the suppliers, and they weren't listening. So I decided that somebody had to make products that kick ass. We made portable solar panels that are super lightweight, our own fridges, battery systems, and those products kick ass.
Well, there you have it, folks. The story behind Australian Direct and Kick-Ass products. Check them out at australiandirect.com.au.
Southern Cross Care understands using digital technology isn't always easy, so they've partnered with Your Link to offer the Smart Health Pack, giving older adults the resources and support to help live better.
The guys at Southern Cross Care, they are total cutting edge.
They are.
They do the most lateral creative stuff. It's superb. Absolute pinnacle of aged care. The Smart Health Pack includes an Apple iPad, Your Link tech support for 12 months, Apple support for 24 months, ongoing in-person support from Southern Cross Care. Well, the great thing about this is you don't feel isolated when you go into aged care. Yep. And this is your own first aid kit against isolation. It also includes 2 free telehealth group exercise classes per week for 6 weeks.
And if you've heard all that and thought, I don't know what any of that is or why I'd need it, or it sounds too hard, it's not with these guys.
No.
This is what they do every single day. They explain it, they help people use it, they make life better with it. Buying a smart health pack can change older adults' lives for the better. You'll learn how to do all sorts of handy things like shop online, stay connected to loved ones, browse the internet, download and use apps, and stream your favourite movies, TV shows and music.
Learn more about the Smart Health Pack. Just call Southern Cross Care on 1800 852 772.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Who said video games are only for teenagers? Harvey Norman understands gaming PCs and they'll make sure your new beast has all the grunt to process those amazing visuals. The Acer Nitro 5 15-inch laptop comes with an Intel i5 processor, 8GB of RAM and a 512GB solid-state drive. But the biggest asset is the RTX 3060 graphics card from NVIDIA, giving you some of the best graphics performance on the market. Get the gaming laptop your kids will envy. The Acer Nitro 5 is a monster, but with a tiny price, just $1,298. Save $500. Also, as a bonus, receive $150 of Logitech G, Astro or Blue Mic accessories, now available at Harvey Norman.
Check out these great offers at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Get up to 20% off a huge range of great wheel brands. Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
21 to 8, joined in the 5AA Breakfast studio by Sean Fuster, thanks to Crime Stoppers SA and Police Credit Union, supporting better communities. crimestopperssa.com.au as we go round the court. Sean, good morning to you.
Good morning, everybody. It's a perfect Wednesday to go around the courts.
Certainly is. Bit of a cold Wednesday.
It's cool. There's no such thing as a non-perfect Wednesday to go around the courts.
That's true. But you know, it was a little cold out the front of the Adelaide Magistrates Court yesterday where I had one of the more, let's call it intriguing interviews that I've had.
Oh, this is truly bizarre. So just set the scene.
Let me set the scene for you. So a name appeared on the case list yesterday morning charged with possessing extremist material. Now that is, something to do with acts of terrorism, bombings, things like that. We didn't know what it was. We just knew the man's name. The man's name was Bennett Russell Maynard Brown, which sounds like he should have been hosting a children's cooking show in the 80s on the ABC. We went along. Not much happened. When he changed his bail conditions, left court. When he left court, however, we decided, as a group of reporters do, to ask him what this was all about. And this is what he told us.
It was just a video of the Christchurch massacre, which was very wrong of me to have a copy of. It was downloaded off of Facebook by accident. That's all I've got so far.
Why did you download it?
No, not at all. I'm actually Muslim now. I converted last October. I'm Muslim, so complete opposite to the monster in that video. A complete misunderstanding.
Why did you download that video?
It was a mistake. I didn't even realise I had it.
Now,
how do you accidentally download something like that?
How do you accidentally download something like that from Facebook? Because unless something's changed in the last 6 months, that video has been scrubbed from all, we'll call them, decent parts of the internet. You've got to go really looking to try to find that video.
Can we do something as a matter of definition for our listeners?
Absolutely.
That might not necessarily instantly identify the difference between downloading and simply viewing something.
Yeah.
If it popped up in your feed and you accidentally clicked on it, that's not the offence here.
That's not the offence.
This has been acquired.
That's right.
You've got to save it on your desktop.
You've got a physical copy. You've had to go to the trouble of going, I want to get that and have a physical copy of it on my computer.
That's right.
Which I reckon probably requires some sort of third-party app to download something from Facebook.
Well, at the very least, a right click and a conscious decision.
Yep.
You can't, press play on a Facebook video and then be done for possession of extremist material. Possession means it's actually in your digital grasp.
Is this chap representing himself?
No, he's not. He did have a lawyer.
Yeah, right. Was he with the lawyer when he held the impromptu press conference?
He was not, which was
the lawyer's
probably a bad choice. Probably a bad choice. Look,
yeah.
I mean...
But he said there... For the benefit of people who couldn't quite make it out, he said that he's converted to Islam in the last 12 months.
He said he's converted to Islam, and he's very specific about it. He said he converted to Islam in October last year, which means that he's the exact opposite of the monster depicted in the Christchurch massacre video. The issue that comes up with that is when you read the court file, The offence was allegedly committed in February of this year.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not quite sure what a conversion to Islam in October of last year avails him in terms of a defence, but that's certainly the platform upon which he's running.
So what stage were we at, sorry? Was this just the first time he's appeared?
Very first time he's appeared before court, so there's a long way to go yet. But this idea of an accidental download from Facebook of a video that has been scrubbed from, as I say, decent parts of the internet, is going to be a very interesting case to try to follow and fight. Very interesting.
I know a Muslim bloke who told me that they don't use the term convert, they say revert.
Revert?
Yeah, because the view within Islam is that everybody is born Islamic. They just don't necessarily know it because Allah created all living beings.
Okay,
which
that
is
makes
why
sense.
you're not allowed to draw pictures of animals or trees or flowers if you're into art in Islam. That's why they're so good at doing designs and textiles and patterns and things like that. Tiles, all those tiles in Spain, because you're not allowed to try to replicate the work of God.
That makes sense.
It's an offence in the eyes of God. But they say I reverted to Islam, not converted, because they say you finally recognise that you are Islamic.
It'll be very interesting to see whether his reversion is part of his defence to this or not.
Yeah,
or
or
whether
just
this
a
is just
diversion.
Diversion, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Beat me to it.
You've also you've also been following the trial of an allegedly perverted masseuse, Sean.
Well, not allegedly. Mark Anthony Gray has pleaded guilty to filming 30 of his patients. He's a massage therapist, and he set up hidden cameras and filmed 30 of them. If this sounds familiar, yes, we are once again in the territory of Peter Wayne Snodgrass. You remember him? He filmed 400 of his patients.
Yeah.
And has just recently pleaded guilty to separate charges of child exploitation. Unsurprisingly, Gray has pleaded guilty to the 30 counts of filming his clients and also child exploitation. They seem to go hand in hand. And Pembo, you were saying to me off air, we're seeing more and more of this come through.
It does seem like that.
I think it's because police are now wise to what's going on, and women are unfortunately having to be wise. To hear these victim impact statements was awful, because these women are saying, now I go into a change room and the first thing I do is check for cameras. I feel like no matter where I am and what I'm doing, I am, being watched at all times. I can't imagine how terrifying that must be, just to, do something as simple as going into a change room at Big W or something like that and being worried that you're being watched. Well, speaking of creep, he sat there crying all the way through the victim impact statements, wringing a hanky, dabbing at his eyes, crying. And I'll be honest, if I was one of those women, I'd be saying, mate, dry up. You're not the one suffering here.
Yeah, totally. 100%. Yeah. 100%.
And Sean, you've got another massive episode of Just Lawful coming on Sunday.
One of the biggest, Stephen Egberts, the grandfather of the children that were murdered at Hillier in 2016, will be on the show speaking for the very first time about the entire case, beginning to end, telling his side of the story, what it was like dealing with Families SA and child protection, reacting to some of the things that have come out of the coronial inquest in the past couple of weeks. It is absolutely unmissable. You won't hear another hour of radio like it.
Amazing stuff.
Looking forward to that, and looking forward to catching up with you again next Wednesday. Sean Fuster, Wednesday morning, and we go round the courts. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
14 to 8, we'll check traffic thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now at Dave Potter.
Between Two Wells and Gawler at Ward Belt, Northern Expressway closed to outbound traffic due to a serious crash. That could be closed till around 8 o'clock this morning with a detour via Two Wells Road. Citybound is open though. Got a burst water main, Clovelly Park, South Road near Norrie Avenue. And we've got some early morning fog today on the freeway. That's around Crafers West. Speeds have been reduced to 80 k's between Crafers and the tunnels. The Price Attack Big Bottle Sale is on now. Big brands, big savings. For Australia's most popular professional hair care products, shop in-store and online today at Price Attack. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi ladies, Heather from Joyreen Fashions. This is the time of the season you've been waiting for. We're stock taking in a couple of weeks and need to clear some garments. There's plenty of bargains in casual day wear through to special occasion, some half price. And we even have a rack of quality garments for $29. Supplies are limited, so come in while you have the best choice of our stock take sale. Joyreen Fashions for mothers and daughters, 491 Portrush Road, Glenunga.
I've got my own peach tree. It's a flat one called an espalier. That's when a tree grows on wires, so you get lots of peaches. and it doesn't take up too much room. Mum has an apple tree, and Dad is growing pears.
Get the kids into fruit and outside in the garden with a Balhanna Nursery's fruit tree. Let them plant, nurture and watch it grow through the year. They'll get a real sense of achievement and lots of yummy fruit. Visit your local garden centre this weekend and look for the green Balhanna Nurseries bag.
Mike and Darren Steele are the father and son duo that have been in the business of saving lives for over 35 years. I mean, you can trace it back to Darren first starring in his dad's TV ads for the Clipsal safety switch when he was 4 years old. He now is, they're like a duo now. It's not just the father-son act. They are behind the fabulous Care Alert Smart Dialer, a brilliant product for the elderly and one we proudly used in our family.
Yep, that's right. So many South Australian families have. But what about this? They've taken it up to the next level with technology. Their fantastic go-anywhere GPS pendant can provide you with emergency assistance, not just at home, but anywhere you go. Now, we've seen it work. It's incredible. Doesn't really matter how you come to grief. If you suddenly become ill at home, or you're out walking down your local park and you have a fall, you just press the emergency SOS button and people of your choice can be notified that you need help, and you can even talk to them through the pendant.
Yeah, the Care Alert GPS Go Anywhere unit comes to you fully programmed, ready to use. You don't have to do anything. And if you've been approved for your My Aged Care or NDIS funding, you could own one for free.
That's right.
Now, that's worth your time just to check in on.
And look, the amazing thing is, the unit, it even knows if you've fallen over because it's got motion sensor technology in it, and it will get you help without you needing to do a thing. Plus, handy at the moment, it's fully waterproof too.
Yep, Care Alert have their own unique software program into the unit that no other company has, making it the superior choice for such a brilliant product. And here's the best part, which is incredible. It's under $399 delivered.
It's all thanks to Care Alert. Give them a call, 1300 75 85 95. That number again, 1300 75 85 95, or visit carealert.com.au. That's carealert, all one word, .com.au.
Don't just get a forklift. Don't miss the Toyota Forklift Stacks and Jacks sale. Get hot deals across a range of new Toyota walkie stackers and electric pallet jacks. Plus receive a free Caltex Star Cash card up to the value of $500. The Toyota Forklift Stacks and Jacks sale. On now. Call 1-800-425-438 or toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota Forklift. T's and C's apply. Private buyers only. Offer ends August 31.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their end of financial year monster deals. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
10 to 8, John Blake in a moment. We'll talk weather with Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News as well. But first, thanks to our major sponsors, Automasters, it's time for that regional road trip. Get there and back safely, call 1300 Automasters. And today, Jane's off to Narracourt.
Today we're off to the southeast, to Narracourt, in the heart of the Limestone Coast and home to Australia's favourite wool bedding, Mini Jumbuck. Darren Turner is their managing director. Darren, you must be very proud of your products, which are a national leading brand.
Yeah, we are, Jane. Look, we've been manufacturing wool bedding products for over 45 years here in the heart of the Limestone Coast in Narracourt. Our team here are extremely proud of what we do, and you know, one of those feelings you get when you live in a regional town is the excitement of going to the big city and seeing the product that you've made on the shelf in some of the big department stores and specialty stores. So yeah, we love it.
How did it all start?
Mini Jumbuck started in the mid-70s handcrafting a small souvenir sheep, which became the name of the business, the Mini Sheep or Mini Jumbuck. And we then began producing wool-filled quilts towards the end of the 70s, first under licence, and we launched our own range in the early 80s. The Mini Jumbuck bedding range consisted of wool quilts, pillows, mattress toppers. Went on to become a national and leading brand, sold throughout Australia and exported overseas.
So you're obviously dealing with such a beautiful natural fibre, and I'm a big fan of wool, and we do have one of your underlays on our bed. You must be dealing very much directly with the local farmers.
More recently, we've partnered with some Limestone Coast farmers to buy wool direct from the farm. We've released the Limestone Coast wool quilt range this year, so that's been very successful. You can see that in our shop here at Narracourt or in Adelaide or around South Australia, you'll see it.
Darren, thank you so much for being part of our spotlight on regional business promotion here at 5AA, and we hope that we can get the word out about the great job that you're doing and how people can support local industry by buying your product and also going down and checking out the gallery and seeing how these beautiful, soft, warm products are made.
Thanks, Jane, and thanks for the opportunity to tell people a little bit more about Mini Jumbo.
Good on you, Jane. We also have a Mini Jumbuck everyday queen-size quilt to give away. First caller through on 8223 0055. Keep your family warm with Mini Jumbuck, woolen quilts, mattress, toppers, pillows and sleepwear, McLaren Vale and Narracourt. Let's talk about the weather. Bit of rain late yesterday and plenty more on the way this week. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News has the specifics. Morning, Amelia.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Bit wet last night. 13.6 millimetres in the West Terrace gauge. Thanks for coming. That's a little bit more than we were expecting, as well, which is quite nice. I don't hear anyone complaining about that, and it's not often that I really get to say that either, which is good. It takes our total for the month to around 33 millimetres. So by the end of June, we like to see on average a touch over 70. So that's not bad, tracking okay. This morning, there is a road weather alert for a bit of fog about the hills, so that could reduce visibility. If you're on the roads there, make sure you take extra care. There's also a bit of shower activity about some parts, sort of around Blackwood at the moment. And that's kind of going to be the trend today. That's where we're expecting those showers to focus on, sort of the hills and southern suburbs. We could see a shower or two over the city today, maybe another couple of millimetres worth if we're lucky, but they're not on the radar just yet, so you should be all right for your commute into work or school today. 15 degrees the forecast top. And then we're expecting showers to pick up again later tomorrow with another front. So maybe another 4 to 10 millimetres with that system. Top 16, showers easing back on Friday, so 15 then. And then we'll sort of slowly start to dry out over the weekend. So a bit of cloud around on Saturday. You can't rule out a shower. But we should be in the clear sort of Sunday. Both days going for a top of 16. And then, would you believe, a bit of sunshine by Monday? Hello.
Nice.
But for now, bit of rainfall for the garden. We always welcome that.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Thank you,
Thanks,
Amelia. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News. Congrats to Luke and Glengarry, who's won the Mini Jumbuck prize. Right now, it's time for John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
The Office of the Premier of South Australia, the Honourable Stephen Marshall.
Oh, what do you want, Julian?
Starting off by yelling, are we all right? Do you want a cup of tea, you grumpy old sack of political crap?
Oh, that's a bit strong.
Yes, it was a bit, wasn't it? Sorry about that.
Yes, I'd like a cup of tea.
All right, I'll bring it in.
Here we are. Tea lady, what's the matter? Why are you grumpy? How can I help?
It's not fair.
No, it's not. It's never been fair, Premier. The system is weighted against you.
Well, that's right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about the Queen's Birthday Honours bloody list.
Oh, my God. Talk about the Australian Alternative Golden Globe Awards. Yes.
There was one glaring omission from the list.
I know you weren't on it, Premier.
After all I've done managing this state through one of the worst crises the world has seen,
yes.
And I wasn't recognised,
no.
But she was.
Who, Premier Francis Adamson?
No.
Erin Phillips?
No. Who do you think? Nicola Spurrier.
Oh, Dame Nicola. Yes, she has done a great job, hasn't she?
Well, that's the point. She's only doing a job.
Yes, but she's doing it really well.
Well, why don't I get one for doing my job really well? This is not fair. I put her in charge and she gets the award.
The world's gone crazy, Premier.
I should have got an award for realising that she was the best person for the job.
Well, they're trying to get away from giving politicians awards for doing their jobs.
Well, our job's different from a normal job. It doesn't matter how good a job we do, half the population hates our guts.
Premier, there's always next year's list.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You'll get an OAM for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For having the intelligence to let Grant Stevens run the state.
Yeah, that's true.
But they'll probably just give it to Grant Stevens.
Oh, shut up.
How does Peter Credlin get one and Stephen Marshall hasn't got one yet?
Can I ask you a bigger question? Who, at this point, given what we've seen in recent years about these awards, who are they for? And I don't mean who are they for in terms of recipients, but
I think they should be for people in the community who have done something selfless to improve the lot of others.
I agree. But
that should be it.
But right now, because the public just doesn't see it as they've been discredited. I just think that I don't know who they benefit now beyond the very people who are involved. I just don't think the broader public says, "Oh, well, that's great." That person going. There are hundreds of them that get handed out all the time, and to people that are well known.
What I find weird is I can think of some journos who've got them over the years.
Yeah.
And I think all the awards really said in their case was that they'd done their job for a very long time and that a lot of people knew them.
That's ludicrous.
Different from Jane. When Jane got her AO,
So she's done a lot of charity work.
She got it for all the variety club stuff
Yep.
that she's done, and it should be for something like that.
Totally.
You know, that's what it should be for.
I think it's the fact people get it because they've been a footballer for a long time, or they've been
Well, Bettina aren't.
Yeah, that's right.
I think she's written a sex column for 30 years.
Yep. Because no one recognises an accountant who's done his job for 35 years.
No.
And they're no less valuable to society. It seems like just another merry-go-round for people that are already well known to go and have a mutual backslap at the moment.
My touchstone for this stuff is when you see those excruciatingly showy full-page ads written by eminent Australians, people who regard themselves as eminent, people who are quite comfortable, who rejoice in the term eminent. You know, some of them even quite happy, like Julian Burnside, for example, and also Chris Public, the former privacy commissioner. Not Chris Public. What's his face? The judge in Sydney who got done for falsifying his speeding fines. Marcus Einfeld.
Yeah.
You know, people who are happy to be described as national living treasures, writing these letters to government to the day saying, well, this is how you should really approach border protection or health funding or whatever. Plumbers don't do that.
No.
You know, you never see 50 plumbers getting together saying, our opinion is so important that we're going to take out a full-page ad telling people how they should devise policy.
Yeah, they've stuffed those awards up completely. It's 7:08, Breaking 8 coming up after 8 o'clock, as is Tom Duday on his break. They've got the bye this week, the Crows.
What's on your bucket list? Parachuting, climbing Everest, swimming with sharks? There's one thing that should be on everyone's bucket list: a will and estate plan. A will, power of attorney, and advanced care directive speak for you when you can't. They look after you and your loved ones. A will and estate plan drawn up by Donlan Lawyers is peace of mind for everyone. For wills and estate planning, contact Donlan Lawyers or visit donlanlawyers.com. Put it on your bucket list.
Adelaide Tools is your tax time destination with SA's biggest range of top brand tools and equipment. We've got tradies and serious DIYers covered. Get in before June 30th and do a deal. If you're looking for trade quality brands, you don't need to look anywhere else. So now's the time. Get into Adelaide Tools or jump online to check out all the must-see deals for tax time. Adelaide Tools, trusted brands, trusted service since 1949.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 15 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
A fatal collision in the Barossa is under investigation. A chain of events on the Northern Expressway Ward Belt led to the death of a 44-year-old Andrews Farm woman late last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says multiple vehicles were involved.
Police allege a Holden Cruise was travelling north on the Northern Expressway when the driver collided with wire cabling on the median strip and lost control, causing the vehicle to spin. Now, a second vehicle, a Holden station wagon, also travelling north on the expressway, swerved to avoid colliding with the Cruise. However, it also clipped the cabling and came to a stop a short distance away. The third vehicle, Mitsubishi Triton, was driving past the incident, and the driver allegedly crashed into the female driver of the Cruise, who had stepped out of her vehicle.
The 21-year-old in the Mitsubishi, a man from Para Hills, was arrested and is expected to be charged with leaving the scene of a fatal crash, aggravated driving without due care and other traffic offences. The state road toll for the year now stands at 51. A young woman is in hospital after being hit by a rock at Burton last night. It happened in Wattlebird Drive just after 6. When ambulance officers arrived, a rock was thrown at their vehicle, but luckily no damage was caused. Police are investigating. The government's in for a stamp duty windfall in the upcoming state budget. It's estimated more than $200 million will be pumped into its coffers thanks to the booming housing market. Shadow Treasurer Stephen Mulligan says it must be spent wisely.
This huge amount of extra money gives the government the capacity to not only address ramping but also help first home buyers get into the market. And there's still money left over to reduce the budget deficit and even reduce the government's debt levels. This is an extraordinary surge of money that allows the government full flexibility to deal with a lot of the pressures that it faces.
South Australia is getting a trade office in mainland Europe. It will be set up in Paris with the aim of growing overseas trade representation. The investment, $1.8 million over 4 years, is a pre-budget announcement, the state's economic blueprint to be handed down next Tuesday. France says it recognises Australia is at the forefront of tensions in the Indo-Pacific. Prime Minister Scott Morrison and French President Emmanuel Macron have held talks in Paris. China's growing aggressiveness in the region is of concern to a number of European countries and the US. Speaking through a translator, Mr Macron says France has Australia's back.
I would like to say how committed France is and remains in defending the balances in the Indo-Pacific region, and how much we consider that the partnership that we have with Australia is essential in the Indo-Pacific strategy.
Earlier, the Prime Minister met with the Queen at Windsor Castle. Scott Morrison says he was able to pass on the nation's condolences following the death of Prince Philip. Australian winemakers are raising a glass to our new free trade agreement with the UK. The industry was hit hard last year when Beijing imposed tariffs of up to 218%. Australian Grape and Wine CEO Tony Battleline says the agreement will help fill the void left by a collapse in exports to China.
So there's still more talks to be had. There were some more technical issues that we were discussing within the context of the agreement, so we believe they're still under negotiation. But the biggest ticket item was to get those tariffs eliminated, and we understand that they will be, and that makes a big difference for our sector.
The stage is set in Geneva for tomorrow's big meeting. Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin will come face-to-face. The US president arrived earlier today. And IKEA France has been fined €1 million after it was found guilty of spying on union organisers, employees, job applicants and even customers. It happened for nearly a decade. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $500 on selected Asco cooking appliances. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide Vice-Captain Ollie Wines has expressed sympathy for Dave McKay as he prepares to face the Tribunal for his collision with St Kilda's Hunter Clark tomorrow night. Wines telling Rower he doesn't think there was any alternative.
That's incredibly hard. The decision you've got to make in that contest is split second as it is, and I think to pull out of a contest like that, it's probably not in the footballer's natural psyche.
Well, the Socceroos have made it 8 from 8 in their World Cup qualifying after beating Jordan 1-0 this morning. Adelaide United has held its Best and Fairest awards, with Ben Halloran winning the Aurelio Vidmar medal for Best Player, while Marushka Waldus won the award for the Lady Reds. And 2 games in the Euros overnight, France beating Germany 1-0, while Portugal took care of Hungary 3-0. Alex de Minaur has won his opening round match at Queen's. The win sets up an all-Aussie affair against John Millman in the next round. Andy Murray also had a win, beating Benoit Paire in straight sets. Injuries have plagued the 34-year-old, who's only won on tour twice in almost 12 months. The emotion of a win on home soil getting the better of him.
Yeah, look, I love it. I love playing tennis. Sorry.
Good to see him back at the Olympic swim trials in Adelaide. Kyle Chalmers has qualified and will defend his gold medal in the men's 100-metre freestyle. Melbourne United's through to the NBL Grand Final after a 10-point win against the South East Melbourne Phoenix, and one game in the NBA playoffs today, with the Brooklyn Nets set to take on Milwaukee. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles. Now at Dave Potter.
At Waterloo Corner, look out for a smash. That's at Ryans Road and Supple Road. Between Two Wells and Gawler at Ward Belt, the Northern Expressway is closed to outbound traffic due to a serious crash. That should be open soon. Currently detours there via Two Wells Road. Got some early morning fog too on the freeway. That's at Crafers West. Speeds have been reduced down to 80 k's. That's between Crafers and the tunnels. At the Mazda Moments end of financial year sale, the moment to make it yours is now. Visit your Mazda dealer to arrange a test drive today. There isn't a moment to lose. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
15 today with showers. Showers will increase tomorrow 16. Friday showers easing back to 15. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen. Reckon you've run out of time to score a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen? Nah. If you're quick, you can still check out the range of new Volkswagens available for delivery right now at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen. And remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Don't dilly-dally. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
We will be hearing a lot about South Australia's hidden gems. So if you're feeling the urge for that regional road trip, make sure you get there and back safely with help from Automasters.
They do a terrific job, the people at Automasters. They will perform expert safety checks and give you a vehicle condition report. It's all there in black and white.
Yeah, with a 45-year history, servicing over 2,700 cars each week, Automasters have grown to be one of the most trusted alternatives to the dealers for your servicing and repairs and logbook servicing without voiding your warranty.
And look, you can find them all over regional SA, which is perfect for your road trip. They've got a lot of the regional areas covered, including Victor Harbour, the Barossa, Murray Bridge and Mount Barker.
Automasters, keeping you and your car safe on the road. Call 1300 Automasters.
In the last hour on Adelaide's FIVEaa.
And this is where I think the unis really need to pull over and give themselves an uppercut. Like, I went to a function recently, headed by the 3 university vice-chancellors, and I thought that the case that Flinders University put for the return of international students just sounded so overstated, so overblown and so flimsy. Now, I'm in favour of returning overseas students, but to me it looks like the universities have become utterly witless. Ostensibly the smartest people in Australia have become so wholly dependent on one key revenue source, and that is students from China.
Sean Fuster, Wednesday morning, and we go round the courts.
Is this chap representing himself?
No, he's not. He did have a lawyer.
Was he with the lawyer when he held the impromptu press conference?
He was not, which was
the lawyer
probably a bad choice. Probably a bad choice. Look, he said he's converted to Islam, and he was very specific about it. He said he converted to Islam in October last year, which means that he's the exact opposite of the monster depicted in the Christchurch massacre video. The offence was allegedly committed in February of this year.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8:09, breaking at 8, coming up in just a moment. We've got Tom Duday on the show shortly, and one of the big beneficiaries of the free trade agreement that's been signed between Australia and the UK will also be on the show after 8:30. 8223 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. A lot of feedback early to the closure of the Northern Expressway that was closed for outbound traffic from Two Wells due to a collision. That is now open. The Department of Infrastructure and Transport has just announced that that one is back underway. So the expressway for outbound will be operating as normal. Time for breaking at 8.
Well, one of the biggest stories involving the Australian establishment, the people who run this country, people who work in the judiciary, people who work in politics, people who work at the upper echelons of business, was played out yesterday in Sydney's Macquarie Street, which is the equivalent of our North Terrace, beautiful part of town, at the Australian Club, which is a 183-year-old organisation that meets behind closed doors at a social club where you can have a snifter of port and some grilled herrings, maybe some fresh Sydney rock oysters, chat with your other chums from the bar or the upper house or wherever it is that you ply your trade. The rule is, and has always been, and as of yesterday, by a 62% margin of the 700-odd attendees of this extraordinary meeting, women aren't allowed to go. It is a gentleman's club. Women are not allowed to attend. There were extraordinary names there yesterday. John Howard was at the meeting. Malcolm Turnbull was at the meeting. A high-profile businessman by the name of Jeff Cousins was at the meeting, and he's now quit. He said that in the year 2021 he cannot believe that an organisation would be so vehemently committed to preventing women from joining. I think he makes a really good point too, that when you think about it, say in the Adelaide context, you know, we've had reports in the last 6 months into sexual misconduct in Parliament House. We've had reports into sexual misconduct, sexual harassment in the judiciary, involving even judicial officers. And you sort of wonder whether this weird old view about keeping women at arm's length somehow feeds into that kind of behaviour. I don't know if you can necessarily make a direct link, but it's on a continuum, isn't it? That women are sort of, not quite welcome.
I really struggle to get my head around this whole concept, and I don't know. Is it a generational thing, or is it it's a section of society that I've certainly not been privy to thing? Because I can't imagine ever. Like it feels so foreign. It almost feels like it's from another country. Like this is like behind closed doors North Korea stuff for me to get my head around. The idea that you'd go, whatever we do here would be made worse by virtue of there being the other gender. I can't get my head around ever thinking, oh, you know what, this would be better without women.
Well, think about like in a social context, if you're having friends around, would you ring your mates and say, oh, we don't want you,
No.
don't bring your wife?
No.
The other thing too is I don't know, like I don't think, I'm certainly not saying my behaviour is always good, but I don't think my behaviour is any different in front of a group of all male friends versus male and female friends. Like it's not like it sort of turns into John Belushi's Animal House when there's no women there. I sort of think you act the way you do. Anyway, the reason I mention all of this is, and look, none of this is a knock on the members, because I actually know and really highly regard a number of people in Adelaide who are members of the Adelaide Club, which for those of you who don't know, you've probably walked past it if you've gone down to the Maya. A lot of people, like it's not signposted, it's a beautiful old biscuit-coloured building there on the corner of North Terrace and King William Street. But my understanding is that there's been some discussion, and I'm trying to work out where it's emanating from, within the Legislative Council about whether the provision of a liquor licence to the Adelaide Club, or indeed any club, should be made contingent on it abiding by equal opportunity laws.
So the state can sort of mandate equality.
The prospect of going there, still being able to go, but not being able to have a nice musket, port or Tokay with your slice of Stilton might take a bit of the shine off it. Now, my understanding is that there are people at the Adelaide Club who are aware of this talk, and you just wonder, with all these blokes increasingly looking like there's something from the final scenes of Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park, whether the goings-on at the Australian Club are going to find their way to North Terrace, Adelaide.
Can I say something that's potentially contradictory? I reckon if you're above the age of 9 and you think getting around hanging out with only blokes is a good way of having fun, I think it's weird. That said...
Yeah, I agree with you.
Right. That said...
I can't think of anything more boring than going to a social thing that hasn't got a few women there.
Yeah, but I don't know if we need the state government in the business of telling clubs how they should run themselves.
Well, I saw a sign on Port Road the other day for an all-women soccer club too, saying, do you just want to come and play soccer only with women? Yeah. And you sort of think, well, hang on, so could they be caught up in that as well? But I think the thing that makes it just seem not sinister, but kind of questionable is the extent to which these people, on account of money, politics, and their, in many cases, judicial links, it just looks like it's this totally secret network, doesn't it?
I honestly think it's the... If I had a mate that was like, come on, you know where there's a secret place we can go where there's no women, I'd be like, right, mate, go for it.
That's right.
I'm busy.
I thought it was called Lewis Cohen Drive. But it is kind of in that bailiwick, isn't it?
God, it's just like, come on. Sorry. Let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now.
At Collins, look out for a car v cyclist. That's on North East Road just near the ABC. Everyone's okay though, which is good. At McGill, a smash, 2 cars involved there. McGill Road near Old Norton Summit Road. At Grange, traffic lights malfunctioning on Trimmer Parade at Frederick Road. And between Two Wells and Gawler at Ward Belt, Northern Expressway closed to outbound traffic due to a serious crash. Could be closed till around 8:30 this morning. Detours via Two Wells Road. At Pet Barn, get up to 30% off during their fabulous mid-year sale. Shop great deals across the store. Conditions apply. Hurry, ends June 28 at Petbarn. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Like the 2-hour lineup at the Port Elliot Bakery, or the lofty view from the summit, from the ultra-realistic bunyip at the bridge, to the sparkling floors of the Central Market. Things that make our fine state. It's who we are. Local, iconic, proud. There is SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
Get more time with Woolworths Direct to Boot. Shop online and Woolworths will hand-pick your order, then place your shopping directly into your boot. Select locations, T's and C's apply.
Hi ladies, Heather from Joyreen Fashions. This is the time of the season you've been waiting for. We're stock taking in a couple of weeks and need to clear some garments. There's plenty of bargains in casual day wear through to special occasion, some half price. And we even have a rack of quality garments for $29. Supplies are limited, so come in while you have the best choice of our stock take sale. Joyreen Fashions for mothers and daughters, 491 Port Rush Road, Glenunga.
Houston, we are about to make contact with Australia. The Eagle has landed.
US Managed Healthcare has landed in Australia with the joint venture between NIB and American giant Cigna Health Corporation.
Australians do not want US Managed Healthcare in this country.
Let your local federal member know you say no to US Managed Healthcare in Australia. Visit sendtheeaglehome.com.au.
Authorised by Kay Gallagher, Australian Society of Ophthalmologists.
If you're heading out north, out of the city on Port Wakefield Road, you'll come to a region of SA that is steeped in history. The Adelaide Plains is home to prosperous farming and proud family history.
That's right. It really is South Australia's food bowl. And look, there's a lot of great family businesses out there. And I'll tell you what, there is one very proud family business, and they have been doing an absolutely fantastic job to help people, be they private gardeners or people involved in the food trade for a living. North Waste Composting and Recycling, run by the fabulous Siciliano family. They've been making mulch and compost, and if they want you to join, they want you to join them in starting a greener future today.
Yeah, this is great. North Waste accept green waste and winery waste from local growers to go into their big sellers like Eco Cover Mulch and their premium cottage compost, just to name a few.
North Waste Composting and Recycling. They're a proud family business on the Adelaide Plains. Look them up online at northwaste.com.au.
Be part of a retirement community designed around your well-being. At Lendlease Retirement Villages, you'll feel connected, safe and secure, so you can focus on what makes you happy. Search Lendlease Retirement South Australia.
Visit the award-winning team at Dave Potter for the best end of financial year deals on demonstrator and used cars. Right now, jump into executive-driven vehicles with peace of mind with a 100-point certification and a mechanical protection plan. Best of all, Dave Potter have a huge range in stock, ready to go, and all available to test drive today. So visit the award-winning team at Dave Potter today or see the entire range at davepotterhonda.com.au.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Get up to 20% off a huge range of great wheel brands. Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
21 minutes after 8. The next guest is on holidays. But no rest for the wicked on 5AA Breakfast. Thanks to Leader Computers, Australia's largest PC and server manufacturer, built and serviced right here in Adelaide.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
And 4 points better off than last time we caught up with him. Tom Duday, good morning to you, mate.
Morning. How we going?
We're good, Tom. Hey, mate, thank you so much for doing this. You and I actually saw a media advisory note put out by the Crows a few days ago saying that there will be no media engagements until Friday. So you're going overs doing this one, mate.
Oh, it's just you two. I just such a good connection. I just thought I'd sacrifice my holiday to spend some time with you two.
You can't quit us, can you?
I can't quit you, boy.
Where are you? What are you doing for your time off?
Up in the Barossa with my better half. We come up yesterday and did some wine hopping, and now just stayed at the little Novotel here, which was where we did our quarantining not long ago. So thought we'd come back up.
All those happy memories.
Revisit the beautiful place.
It's a nice spot. I tell you, the weather couldn't be more of a contrast to what you played in Cairns a couple of days ago. Just tell us how difficult those conditions were.
It was, sunshine's out now, and in Cairns we thought we were going to get some sun, and the rain just kept coming during the game, and it's something where you sort of got to play completely differently, especially as an intercept marker. You can't take those chances, because if the ball gets over the back, it's pretty much game over, and you just got to make sure you get your body behind the ball more and take it cleanly first before you think about doing anything with it. And then skills-wise, you can't really stuff around with it. You can't try to pull off too many kicks inside, because if they get turned over, it's so hard to defend. And so it's pretty much long down the line and try and get numbers behind it. And didn't do it well in the first quarter, but fortunately we did for the final three.
This is the weirdest game, though, wasn't it? Like, it was just crazy.
Yeah, it was. Even the way the start was just we were nowhere, and then the way we came back and they got a couple back, and then we end up the finish was obviously insane as well. I know, Penbo, your heart would have been racing, I'd imagine.
Well, I must admit, I sort of, at quarter time, I was having a barbie with some mates, and I said, I'm not even going to watch this. And then my wife was glued to the TV, gnashing her teeth in the first half, but then the last quarter she screamed out, "You got to watch this, we're going to win!" So it was an excellent 10 minutes. I got to fair weather, I totally admit, fair weather fan. Hey, mate, we've got to ask you the number one question, DMAC. What's your take on it?
Look, I was about 20 metres behind it, like directly in line, and from my point of view and what the replays show, he had his hands out. He's sprinting at the ball to try and create a contest and get the ball, and unfortunately an injury occurred, and I think that's part of our sport. It's a collision sport, a contact sport, but I originally thought it was just a big hit where Dave just ran at the ball, and he actually did get the ball, and then upon replay, I feel like it confirmed my thoughts on it.
If he gets done and gets rubbed out for weeks, will it change the way that you approach playing footy?
No, I don't think so. At the moment, I'm never really sure what the Tribunal is going to do in terms of, it's not as if I know their criteria well and I haven't looked through it. So I just go out and play each week, and then you have a duty of care in terms of obviously leaving the ground and bumping high and any sort of punching, things like that. You're just not going to you're not going to do that because you know what's coming. But the way we attack the ball, that's going to stay in the game, even if there is repercussions like this, just because that's just the way we're wired to play, I think.
So where were you when Riley Philthorpe kicked the ball over his head and won the game?
I was actually in the forward line, believe it or not. I was pretty nervous. I could use some other words, but I won't live on radio. I had to roll forward because they had extra numbers behind the ball, so I had to equalise, and it was it was a nervous time, but I sort of cleared out a little bit because it was a stoppage, and I sort of thought I'd give some space to the guys that actually kicked the goals, not the guys that try to stop them. And then I watched the ball go over the head, tried to run towards goal to try and kick it in or shepherd or something, and then next thing I see Fogg shepherd the St Kilda bloke out the way, and instead of celebrating, I ran straight back to the back line where I belong.
So, he's got the Rising Star nom this week. Everyone knows he's a phenomenal talent, and so much of the future of the Adelaide Football Club is going to be about Riley Philthorpe when he progresses. We don't know him personally that well yet. Is he the kind of guy that brings it up a bit around the club? Well, I mean, obviously you're on a break, but is he the kind of guy that'll talk up his exploits? Is he a bit shy about it? Do you have any idea why he decided to kick it on his non-preferred?
His non-preferred is pretty damn good. That's probably why I decided to kick it on that. But he's someone who, he wouldn't talk about it. But if it got brought up in the locker room, you could probably peek over and see him smirking, I reckon, to himself. He was pretty shy when he first got in, but he's a big goofball at times. He'll dance around in the gym and talk a bit of smack with the boys. So I think we might hear about it maybe a bit later on in the year. But for now, I reckon whilst it's fresh and everyone will still be talking about it, he'll let the rest of us do the talking.
Is the break good, Tom? It must be nice to just be able to put football out of your mind, apart from talking to us for 10 minutes. But recharge the batteries.
It was good until I heard the phone ring.
It's good until 8:20.
What's that? Sorry.
I said it was good until 8:20 when you started talking away.
It's great. Obviously it consumes our lives for majority of the year, but especially in season, you have to just take that extra care of your body because it's such a war of attrition, the AFL season, and just to have a few days off, we still do a little bit of running just to keep the body ticking over, but to not have to go into the club and watch Vision and stuff, it's just a mental refresher to get away from it all.
Well, go easy on the pastries up there in the Barossa. There's a lot of... Then you're coming back looking like you've put on 5 kilograms from eating beer and stick and drinking all that Shiraz.
Yeah, it can be good for your soul, not so good for your skin folds.
That's right.
Well, enjoy it, mate, and we'll look forward to chatting when you get back, and we can talk about the next time you guys are going to take the field. Good to chat.
Appreciate it. I'll be back in studio next week.
Tom Duday, thanks to Leader Computers, Australia's largest PC and server manufacturer, built and serviced right here in Adelaide.
End of financial year now on at Optus. Trade in a selected phone to get huge credit towards the Samsung Galaxy S21 5G. Ends June 30. Terms apply. Head into an Optus store for details.
Hi, Hearing Australia.
Oh, hi. I'd like to inquire about hearing aids, please.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're having a ball, so I'll be quick. Our range includes hearing aids that can be so discreet people probably won't realise you're wearing one. And for eligible pensioners under the Hearing Services Program, there are 3 device choices to choose from that are free. And we will care for your hearing for life.
I like the sound of that. Oh!
Hearing Australia. Discover the secret to celebrating sound in your life. Call 134 432 or 134 HERE today.
Wrap up warm, pack up the car and hit the road. It's time to beat the winter blues and book your next getaway. With the help of SA Weekend Escapes, make the most of this South Australian winter. Discover new destinations, rediscover old, find things to do, places to see, and uncover our latest hotel offers. This winter, stay at one of 10 participating SA hotels and receive a complimentary bottle of red to warm up your trip. Find out more at saweekendescapes.com.au. Holiday here this year.
Don't wait for spring to get cleaning. This cooler weather's perfect for spending time at home decluttering. And by donating your quality clothing and homewares to Vinnie's, you can feel good about letting them go, because profits from their sale will help people doing it tough in our community. You could even say that Vinnie's are compassion converters, transforming your pre-loved treasures into a hand-up for people who need it. Find out where to donate at vinnies.org.au/shops.
You've selected your block up on the river. Your mind is buzzing with ideas. This is going to be the best river home ever. Raised high, breezes flowing, great times ahead. But first, you need to walk through the Selector Homes display village and let your design ideas flow. Selector Homes have been creating holiday homes for over 25 years, and they are experts in building pole homes. Selector Homes and Building Solutions Display Village, Port Wakefield Road, Burton. Visit selectorhomes.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 15 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
A man's been arrested following a fatal collision in the Barossa just before 11:30 last night. Police and emergency services were called to Northern Expressway, Ward Belt, after reports of a crash. Police will allege a Holden Cruise travelling north made contact with wire cabling on the median strip and spun out. A second car, a Holden station wagon, swerved to avoid colliding with the cruise, but also clipped the cabling. A third vehicle, a Mitsubishi Triton, drove past the incident. The driver allegedly crashed into the female driver of the cruise, who'd gotten out of her car. The 44-year-old from Andrews Farm died at the scene. Senior Constable Matt Brown says investigations are continuing.
Now, the number of lives lost on South Australian roads this year is now 51, compared with 45 at this time last year. And there are still road closures in place on the Northern Expressway for a little while longer this morning, while major crash investigators examine the scene.
A 21-year-old man from Para Hills is expected to be charged with leaving the scene of a fatal crash, aggravated driving without due care, and other traffic offences. Police are investigating reports of rock throwing in Burton last night. Just after 6 p.m, they were called to Wattlebird Drive after an 18-year-old woman was hit by a rock. She was taken to the Lowell McEwen Hospital with minor injuries. A rock was also thrown at the ambulance. Any witnesses are asked to call police. A leading epidemiologist has renewed her call for other states and territories to send their supplies of the Pfizer COVID vaccine to Victoria. Supply concerns have forced Victoria to put the brakes on its rollout to people aged 40 to 50 to ensure it can get through a backlog of bookings for second doses. Professor Mary Louise McLaws believes given the current COVID outbreak, and there are 3 new cases today, the state should be expanding, not curtailing its rollout.
You know, we're one nation, and if we can keep a hold of this in Victoria and let the poor Victorians off the leash with these lockdowns, then we can start rolling out to the rest of Australia.
The Prime Minister is on the last leg of his overseas trip, meeting the French President in Paris. Scott Morrison and Emmanuel Macron have held one-on-one talks on a range of issues, including the troubled submarine contract. Making brief remarks at the Elysee Palace, Mr Morrison spoke of the common goals both countries share.
Liberty and affinity. The first of these words is something that the French know much about. No one understands liberty more than the French. Affinity is the word we use to describe our partnership on everything from countering terrorism to our partnership in the Indo-Pacific.
Shares in Coca-Cola have suffered a multi-billion-dollar drop after soccer superstar Cristiano Ronaldo urged people to drink water instead. During a press conference at the Euro Championships, Ronaldo swept bottles of the sponsor's drink off the table, then held up a water bottle urging people to drink water. Coca-Cola has issued a statement saying everyone's entitled to their drink preferences. Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
It's over to Tom Wren.
He was pretty good too, Mel. He scored 2 goals overnight, so clearly plenty of water as Portugal won 3-0 in their match. Let's go to football though, and Adelaide defender Tom Doedee says he hopes Dave McKay doesn't get suspended for a collision with St Kilda's Hunter Clark. Doedee was only 20 metres away when the incident occurred and he doesn't feel it warrants a penalty.
Unfortunately, an injury occurred, and I think that's part of our sport. It's a collision sport, a contact sport. But yeah, I originally thought it was just a big hit where Dave just ran at the ball, and he actually did get the ball. And then upon replay, I feel like it confirmed my thoughts on it.
Athletes heading to the Tokyo Olympic Games are being warned they could be fined or disqualified if they breach coronavirus rules. Competitors and members of the media will be subject to GPS tracking for the first 2 weeks of their stay in Japan. International Olympic Committee Games Operations Director Pierre Ducry says there will be harsh penalties for anyone who does the wrong thing.
We expect you to play by the rules, but if you don't, there will be sanctions that could be coming your way. And this is already the case for a number of the stakeholders. We know that every organisation is already having its own code of rules that they will implement.
The Socceroos have claimed an 8th straight win in World Cup qualifying for the first time in their history after edging past Jordan 1-0. Trent Sainsbury holding back tears, speaking to Fox Sports about what it meant for him to play his 50th match for the Green and Gold.
I just love being a part of this team, this family. Just grateful to be amongst it with the boys. 8 wins from 8. Can't think of anything better. And we're going to get more, achieve bigger and better things.
Good stuff. Well, meantime, an injury concern for Matilda's captain Sam Kerr, a hip complaint forcing her from the field in their 0-0 draw against Sweden. And Frankie Dettori has enjoyed a 7th success in the Queen Anne Stakes on day 1 of racing at Royal Ascot. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now checking FIVEaa traffic.
Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive driven vehicles. Now at Dave Potter.
At Greenacre's got a smashed car v truck, corner of Muller and Hampstead Road. At Fitzroy, collision at Prospect Road and Fitzroy Terrace. At Hove, a burst water main, Brighton Road near Dunrobin Road with debris on the road. And got another collision at McGill. 2 cars involved, McGill Road near Old Norton Summit Road. Between Two Wells and Gorner at Ward Belt, Northern Expressway closed to outbound traffic. Should be opening pretty soon. So just keep that in mind if you're heading that way today. At Professionals Real Estate, they believe the true value of any home is the life inside. For a free Professionals property appraisal, visit professionals.com.au today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Showers today 15, showers increasing tomorrow 16, Friday showers easing 15. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
What if your next holiday was always parked just outside the front door? Dave Benson Caravans sell your next holiday, and unlike an expensive overseas holiday, your dollar remains as an asset, your caravan. With over 120 new or used caravans and campers on display under one roof, The DBC Caravan professionals can tailor your next family holiday to your lifestyle and needs. Your Australian journey awaits and begins at Dave Benson Caravans, 64 Grand Junction Road, Kilburn.
When you've been around for over a century, you know a thing or two. And Business SA and Ray White have almost 300 years between them. So when an alliance is formed between Business SA and Ray White Business Sales SA, they're bringing all their experience to your business, making sure it's in top shape, whether you're buying, selling, or somewhere in between. Get in touch with the experts, Business SA and Ray White Business Sales SA on 8300 0000. That's 8300 0000.
Get up to 20% off a huge range of great wheel brands. Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 to 9. Phil Curry told us yesterday it was imminent. The trade deal between the UK and Australia has been signed off on. It'll become law later in the year. They'll nut out the finer details. But the good news is, for a host of Australian businesses that they'll have unfettered access, or largely unfettered access, it'll increasingly become thus over the next decade, to the fifth largest economy in the world. And so much of this has been spoken about through the prism of what it will mean for our people who are exporting lamb and beef products that have had tariffs up to 80% if they've wanted to export to the UK. They will be wound back slowly, but there are a host of other industries that will be the beneficiaries of this result. And Scott Morrison, the Australian Prime Minister, was particularly pleased with it.
I said we would wait for the right deal, Boris, and I think we've got the right deal, between UK and Australia. And that just lays the foundation further for the bigger partnership we have.
And we could. We were bargaining from a position of strength. Politically, the UK needed its first post-Brexit free trade agreement. We were a good party, but we're a party that came with some conditions, and it sounds as though we've got a pretty reasonable deal. Boris Johnson, for his part, had this to say.
I think it is a good deal. It is. And it's one that I think will benefit British farmers and British consumers as well. I'm not going to exaggerate the overall increase in our respective GDPs that will flow from this, but I think it's more important politically and symbolically. $175 billion, I think, is Australia's trade with China. I think Australia's trade with the UK is currently the order of $15 billion. So you can see the difference in the scale.
People have observed that it's nice to see us getting back close with an old friend on the global scene since 1973, when the UK entered the common market in Europe. That there's a couple of other reasons that industries in Australia might be excited. They are the largest consumers of tea in the world, the British. That will come as a surprise to no one, but it means big business potentially to our next guest. John Russell's the chairman of Narada Tea, Australian-made tea company. John, good morning to you.
Hi, David. Hi, Will.
So, John, thanks so much for joining us. Firstly, where is Narada Tea based, and where do you grow most of your tea in Australia?
We're on the Atherton tableland near Malanda, which is just up the hill from Cairns in far north Queensland.
Beautiful. Lovely part of the world. So a lot of our listeners will have gone to Cairns and headed up to Palm Cove and Port Douglas. So tea needs hills to grow, doesn't it? It's generally hillier parts of the world where it grows.
Mainly it needs rainfall, and you tend to think of Australia as pretty dry, but Cairns and Malanda sit on the intertropical convergence zone, so it tends to get a lot of rainfall and sometimes too much. But that's what we need for tea. We need a well-distributed rainfall throughout the year, and that's why that particular area, our particular area, is fantastic for growing tea.
John, what are the barriers been to exporting to the UK at the moment for you?
Fortunately, we've not, had such a hard time as the beef industry. We're at a stage where we're expanding. I mean, our brand has been around for 50 years, and we see that the UK is the most obvious place for us to export to. I mean, at the moment, Narada is sold in New Zealand, and as we're sort of spreading our wings gently, the UK seems to be a great fit for us, and this is an opportunity with the free trade agreement for us to catch this wave and give it a go. And as you rightly said, the big tea drinkers in the UK, there's similar taste profile to us here in Australia. They like a good, strong tea. And I think our product should be a good fit over there. So it's just a question that the timing is right for us to give this a go and see where we end up.
Do you currently export any of your tea to the UK, John?
At the moment, we haven't tackled the UK market. It's a little bit different than Australia in that branded sales are not quite so strong. There's a lot of house brands sold over there. And so I think the timing is good. No, we haven't tried the UK market before, but from our research, it seems the best export market for us to look at first, beyond New Zealand.
So UK's 1 in terms of the rankings for tea consumption. Who's 2, and where does Australia fit in?
Believe it or not, the Americans drink an enormous amount of tea, but they don't drink it the way we drink it. They don't drink it hot. They don't drink it with milk. They drink it as bottled iced tea, or in restaurants as an iced tea that, just served with a jug on the table. And that's made a little bit differently. So, our product, as it currently stands, doesn't really fit a big market like the US. Russians drink a lot of tea, believe it or not. They produce a lot of tea in the Baltic area. Tea consumption in India is probably one of the world's biggest exporters of tea as a commodity, but they're also probably the world's biggest consumer per capita. Well, in total, per capita, I'm not sure, in India. So I think on the world scale, we're probably fairly small population. And, of course, more of us are drinking coffee than tea in Australia.
Can I ask a question, John? Are you a tea bag guy or a leaf guy?
I'm a leaf guy.
A purist.
And I still have a teapot, which I'm afraid is becoming a bit of a rare item.
Do you turn the pot in a circle? My grandma used to do that.
Yeah, which way do you turn it?
She used to turn it anti-clockwise.
Yeah, I was taught three turns one way and 3 turns the other.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 3. Yeah, that's right. With a little tea cozy on it. Hey, John, good luck with your business. A great Australian business. And as you say, if we can get our excellent Aussie tea into some Wedgwood China in England, would be kicking a bit of extra dough into the Australian economy, that's for sure. John Russell, the chairman of Narada Tea, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
16 minutes to 9.
It's a nice ritual tea.
My parents would drink, I don't know, 6 cups of tea a day. It's something ludicrous.
My mum's big on the tea.
Oh, they have a whole ritual too around this sort of gag reel. Like there's some sort of old comedy duo where it's about, should we put the kettle on? No, you want a cup of tea? Yeah. Oh, well, you better put the kettle on then. No. Well, I'm having one if you don't, mate.
Do you drink it?
Yeah, I'll drink a tea. I drink coffee most of the time these days, but if it's night time, I'll have a tea.
It's relaxing.
It is. It's nice,
soothing.
It's very pleasant. So
I don't even mind the odd chamomile.
Here they are, the list of countries by per capita consumption of tea. Okay, number 1, Turkey, 3.18 kilos
per person per year.
Yep. Ireland, 2.19. Turkey, miles ahead. The UK, 1.94 in 3rd place. Iran in 4th. Russia 5th, that John mentioned. 6th, Morocco. 7, New Zealand. 8, Chile. Surprising.
Chile.
Yeah. 9,
Chile.
Egypt. 10, Poland. Australia coming in at 15th place with 0.75 of a kilo.
No mention of China anywhere. What about the saying all the tea in China? Is that a misnomer?
Well, maybe they grow up but they don't consume it. That's a great question. Where is China unless I can't find them? 20th.
They go with the green tea, don't they?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
That's good at yum cha. If you just tucked into a chicken's foot and black
green
bean
tea's
sauce.
Excellent.
There
is a time and place for green tea, but not for chicken's foot.
No, it's good.
Nah. No,
just embrace it.
No, I'm good. Now, 14-9. We mentioned Rob Lucas earlier. He's got his next budget coming up next year. Has the happy news that there's an extra $1 billion in there that they hadn't accounted for by way of both the GST and also stamp duty, given all the property prices that have been going up at the moment. Next budget, next week, will be his last budget and one of his final major acts as a parliamentarian in South Australia. He's been in, as of today, for 38 years, 222 days. Former Australian Prime Minister Billy Hughes has the record for the longest time in Parliament, 51 years, between 1901 and 1952. We thought we'd ask you on 8223 0000, Who have you been in a job for as long as Rob Lucas? 38 years, 222 days. The same job for 38 years. Anyone listening? Were you? You don't have to be in it right now, but were you in the same job for over 38 years? Let us know what it was. We'd love to hear about it.
1982. Who was Premier? Tonkin, wasn't he? Was it Tonkin?
And then Bannon.
Yeah, because it was Dunstan, Corcoran, Tonkin, Bannon. Pretty sure the Tonkin government was in power. Stand to be corrected.
Well, let us know.
Jeez,
what
that's
job
a
are you
long
in
time
for
ago, isn't it?
38 years? Yeah, 8223 0000 is the number, and we'll get to some of your calls and stories in just a moment. But first, let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter. Get great end of financial year deals on used and executive-driven vehicles. Dave Potter.
At Greenacre's got a smash car v truck, the corner of Muller and Hampstead Road. At Fitzroy, another collision at Prospect Road and Fitzroy Terrace. At Hove, just got a burst water main that's popped up this morning. Brighton Road near Dunrobin Road, debris on the road. And between Two Wells and Gawler at Ward Belt, the Northern Expressway is closed outbound due to a serious crash. That should be open a little bit later in the morning. Amazon Prime Days, June 21st and 22nd. Start your 30-day free trial and enjoy 2 days of epic Prime Day deals. Amazon Prime Day, 21st and 22nd of June, $6.99 per month after 30 days. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Adelaide Tools is your tax time destination with SA's biggest range of top brand tools and equipment. We've got tradies and serious DIYers covered. Get in before June 30th and do a deal. If you're looking for trade quality brands, you don't need to look anywhere else. So now's the time. Get into Adelaide Tools or jump online to check out all the must-see deals for tax time. Adelaide Tools, trusted brands, trusted service since 1949.
The countdown is on. You have less than 2 days until the early bird deadline in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Don't miss your chance to win a Porsche Taycan. Plus, your ticket stays in the draw to win the ultimate beachside lifestyle in the grand prize home on the Esplanade at South Brighton and $1 million cash. Imagine watching sunsets from your balcony mortgage-free. Join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care by purchasing your tickets now at homelottery.com.au. Licence M13989.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Take a look at the stunning Beechwood display home in Blackwood Park.
No one wants to spend their weekend in emergency. So if you hurt yourself on a Saturday or Sunday, Dr. Greg Keane says come and see SportsMed instead.
The doctors at our weekend injury clinic can treat any sporting or orthopaedic injuries right away. You won't have to wait all afternoon.
And a standard consult costs less than a private hospital emergency department, right?
Much less.
World-class care without the wait. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your injury.
sportsmed.com.au.
Houston, we are about to make contact with Australia. The Eagle has landed.
US Managed Healthcare has landed in Australia with the joint venture between NIB and American giant Cigna Health Corporation. Australians do not want US Managed Healthcare in this country. Let your local federal member know you say no to US Managed Healthcare in Australia. Visit sendtheeaglehome.com.au. Authorised by Kay Gallagher, Australian Society of Ophthalmologists.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their end of financial year monster deals. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 to 9, lots of callers. Been in jobs as long as or longer than Rob Lucas. Teresa in Seaton, good morning. What's yours?
Yeah, hi. Love your show, guys. I
Thanks,
started as a 16-year-old in the Premier's Department with John Dunstan in 1973. So 47 years I've been at work.
Oh, wow. So you're still there, Teresa?
I'm not still in the Premier's Department. I'm sort of on the downward track now to, retirement. and just about to start my 201 days long service leave.
Wow.
Oh, lucky you.
Well, Teresa, so you're
Wow.
one of the few people in the public service that can look at Rob Lucas and see him as a young whippersnapper then.
Yes, I sometimes see him on North Terrace walking past me and thinking to myself, gee, you're still working. My goodness.
So you worked for Dunstan,
Yep.
Corcoran, Tonkin, Bannon.
Yep.
Did you work for Brown and Olsen as well?
By that stage, part of the section that I worked in became a government department in its own right. So under Rob Bakewell.
Oh, yeah.
So I sort of got out of there, probably in the first couple of years. But, yeah, really very interesting. He was on another floor. I was, sort of in the section that belonged to Premier's department.
Fantastic,
So, yeah.
Teresa.
Great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling us. That's sensational. Lovely to hear from you too. Colin in Newry, good morning.
Good morning.
What was your job, Colin?
My job, I was a leading hand at Munros, Australia for 43 years.
Down on South Road there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
well.
excellent,
Clovelly
Colin.
Park.
Thank you. Dee, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Dee.
Bit fresh this morning.
It is.
I started at a florist shop at 16, and I left the florist shop after 43 years, or different shops, not the same one.
Yep.
And then I bought an event decorating business, so I'm still working for myself, but I still muck around with flowers in that field as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great,
Lovely.
Dee. Thank you.
Good
So
on
many
you, Dee.
wonderful stories. John in Redwood Park, good morning.
Hi, fellas. How are you?
We're good, John.
Hi. Yeah, I've been at work for then the South Australian Institute of Technology, now the UniSA in pharmacy and chemistry for 47 years. And I actually come from Peterborough, Koori country, and I used to babysit the boys with my wife.
Oh,
What?
really?
What? You babysat Phil?
Yep.
You're joking.
Really? Yeah.
He was actually our page boy at our wedding, and his sister was flag girl.
You're joking.
Oh, that's tremendous, John.
Page boy. Did he have to wear the little outfit?
Yes.
You got photos?
We have.
Okay, excellent. John, thank you.
John, leave your number with our producer.
Yeah,
we'll
put you
talk
back
after the show.
There could be a lot of dirt.
This is going to be excellent.
That's fantastic. You know
about
what?
that?
To our conversation earlier about the Order of Australia, any one of those callers talking about their jobs and the contribution they've made to the state, if the measure of the Order of Australia or the Queen's Birthday honours is longevity, it shouldn't be people who, with public profiles, who've been on TV or in sport for a long time. It should be people like that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
have done unheralded work for a long time and benefited people around them.
Speaking of unheralded work, Anne on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line says, "Hey, Will and Dave, every mother holds their jobs for a lifetime. I'm 46 years at the moment and counting. No gold watch so far." Nice
Keep
one.
open, Anne.
Good on you, Anne.
On the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line there. Hey, we've got another regional visit tomorrow morning, so make sure you listen up for that. Thanks to our major sponsors, Automasters. For that regional road trip, get there and back safely. Call 1300 Automasters. Jane Riley out on the road, and if you miss it, around 7:45 we generally play it, and there's an opportunity each day to win a terrific prize. So make sure you stay listening for that tomorrow. We've got some fuel watch information for you. Lucy's been crunching the numbers thanks to Dave Potter. Cheapest fuel is in the northeast on Gorge Road and Lower Northeast Road through Paradise, where it's $1.17. Elsewhere, still in the mid-20s for the rest of Adelaide. And probably it's reached the bottom, is Lucy's view. She watches this every single day. Feels like it's the bottom of the cycle, so probably a good time to fill up. It's time to go behind closed doors, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
1395, Adelaide's 5AA. This is Andrew Reimer.
And welcome back to the program. Andrew Reimer with you on 1395 Adelaide's 5AA AM on your AM dial. Interactive talkback radio AM with Andrew Reimer. Let's talk to Leo. Hello, Leo. How are you going? All right, Leo?
Yeah, not too bad, Andrew. Yourself?
I'm all right, yeah. How did the Weet-Bix go? Without telling anybody what that means.
Well, I was going to bring that up, Andrew. No,
Oh, you're going to bring it up?
I still got some left, Andrew.
Yeah, don't bring it up, Leo. You've got to keep it down.
Sorry?
You meant to swallow the Weet-Bix, not bring it up.
Bring what? Bring what?
The Wheat Bix.
Oh.
You meant to keep it down.
Oh, another packet, Andrew, but I will do it. Don't worry about that.
Bring it up or keep it down.
What do you... how can you bring it up?
Well, you've got to keep it down, not bring it up, and I'm going to string this joke out for as long as I can, even though you have no idea what I'm on about.
You can't. If you take Wheat Bix out, the box it goes down.
If you bring it up, you vomit.
No.
And it'll probably end up as excruciating as this phone call.
Well, I can't remember anything what happened to me.
If you'd like to have a conversation like this, then give me a call on 822-3-0-0-0, and I can leave you totally confused as well.
Yeah, that's it.
And wondering whether or not it was a good idea.
2.5 to 9.
At Lendlease Retirement Villages, the kettle's on for personalised tea and tour appointments. See homes, community spaces, or learn about contract options. To book, visit teaandtour.com.au or call 1800 550 550.
The Barossa Valley is a place where things mature well, and the locals really appreciate good vintage, which is why it makes sense to make the vine change and call the Barossa home. Barossa Village in Anguston, Tanunda and Nuriutpa gives you the retirement lifestyle you deserve. 1, 2 and 3 bedroom homes are now available in safe connected communities under an hour from the city. Mature well and let it breathe at Barossa Village. Find out more at barossavillage.org.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
You Installer Kitchens offer quality South Australian-made do-it-yourself kitchens at a price that fits your budget, especially this month. Take advantage of our 20% off everything sale. Custom-sized, pre-assembled quality cabinetry with a huge range of colours and finishes available and delivered to your door. Get 20% off for a limited time only. Head into one of our showrooms today, Modbury, Churchill, Glandore, Norwood and Lonsdale. Or visit our Design Hub and 3D Kitchen Planner online. You Installer Kitchens, the complete DIY kitchen solution. Conditions apply.
Elevate the everyday in the elegant Renault Koleos SUV. Available from just $32,990 drive away. Contact your local dealer today. Renault Koleos. Life less ordinary.
Get up to 20% off a huge range of great wheel brands. Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Right on 9 o'clock. If you know someone who would benefit from a new Windows 10 PC laptop, let us know. And maybe together with Leader Computers, we can help out. It's simple. Just go to the 5AA Win page and tell us in 25 words who should be awarded with a Leader Computers Windows 10 PC laptop and why. They are, of course, Australia's largest 100% Australian PC brand, built right here in Adelaide. We went and visited them the other day. It's an incredibly impressive setup, and it means everything you need, from the service on the phone to taking the computer in to be fixed. It'll be done by the people who made it, and they're all locals. It's just tremendous. So whether it's a friend or a school, maybe a sporting club you'd like to nominate, get onto 5AA.com.au and let us know. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller. Leon Byner's coming up in just a moment. We'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.